Advisors to see if you qualify for Section 179 tax savings. Vehicle must be purchased by December 31, 2021. The holidays are a time in which we say thanks, and Audi of Shawnee Mission wants to say thank you to all their loyal customers. If you've always wanted an Audi, call now during Audi's Season of Audi sales event, and come see why Audi Shawnee Mission is rated one of the top dealers in the Central region by Audi of America. Stop in at Audi of Shawnee Mission and experience their brand new state-of-the-art facility. It's easy to get to directly off I-35 in Merriam, off I-35 and 67th Street, or find them online at AudiShawneeMission.com. Come check out what it means to drive the rings.
Chiefs fans, this is the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, presented by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
For the 6th consecutive year, and after a shockingly difficult start to the 2021 NFL season, the Kansas City Chiefs are again champions of the AFC West. The playoff ticket has been punched. The shirts and hats will most likely be available very, very shortly, both for you and for the players headed to the locker room right now at Arrowhead. We will be here to talk about it for the remainder of the evening, taking you up to sometime deep into Sunday Night Football here tonight on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Joshua Brisco. I'm your host. Beers McFly on the other side of the glass. Rudy Salazar producing around the building. 36-10, your final score as the Chiefs make it official, taking the AFC West again for the 6th consecutive year. There's a lot of fun stuff to dig into from this game. We will make our we'll make our way through a lot of the fun little things here and there. But first, the larger context of what we've watched this year. On October 24th, it's 2 months ago, 2 months and 2 days ago. This is also true exactly 2 months ago. On October 24th, 2 months ago, the Chiefs were 3-4 with 4 tiebreaker relevant losses. Big losses that were seemingly destined to make a difference as they tried to build their playoff case. They lost to the Ravens and the Chargers and the Bills and the Titans, the latter two in frustratingly dominated fashion. That was 2 months ago. Today is December 26th. Hope you had a Merry Christmas. Wish you a very Happy New Year. And on December 26th, they're 11-4. They've won the AFC West. They have won 8 in a row. And they are in the AFC's 1 seed. They are completely in control of the AFC's 1 seed. And it would be really difficult to pick anybody else out of this conference to be your preferred favorite to get back to and ultimately win the Super Bowl. We will take all the time you could ever ask for to dunk on the Steelers today. I already tweeted out my ready-to-go joke of final score here. Hostages, 36. Volunteers, 10. As Mike Tomlin said multiple times, when they traded Melvin Ingram to the Chiefs, that they wanted volunteers and not hostages. As Rudy pointed out earlier during the game, he brought that up, and Rudy made the point of, I think I would just like to have professionals. I think that makes sense. Yeah, you have your job that you're paid to do and all that. That all makes a lot of sense. But to look at where the Chiefs stand right now and where they were 2 months ago, it's unbelievable. Now, look, unless somebody has a tweet or an audio clip that I'm not aware of, I don't think in my heart of hearts or anywhere online or on terrestrial radio, I don't think I ever told you that I didn't think the Chiefs would make the playoffs. I always sort of bought the idea that the offense would get it figured out even if the defense didn't. And then the defense became excellent, if not the strength of this team for a period of time, remarkably. But the defense got it figured out and became a strength. And then the offense just had their best stretch of 2 games in a row. But then let's focus on this week. The Chiefs had a week and a half to get ready for this game. It seemed like a big advantage. They were able to rest some starters before having to go play Thursday Night Football. They got through Thursday Night Football, won that game on the road against the Chargers without Chris Jones and Willie Gay and L'Jarius Sneed. And go, wow, they got through a really tough divisional stretch right there. Things seem good. Well, then you get to this week. And the only thing that I honestly think, the only thing that was going to shake my confidence in this offense, even just for a 1-game sample size, was, well, what if they suddenly have to do it without Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill? I never thought they wouldn't win this game today. But staying in this pattern, I'm not just bragging. I'm going to also point to the things I was extremely happy to be wrong about. I never thought they'd lose this game to the Steelers today, but I did think it was going to be ugly. An ugly win like we'd seen multiple times already this year. Now, Tyreek Hill coming back obviously helped move everything along, especially early, but later in the game, he wasn't even out there, and he wasn't really a factor partway through the game. And obviously, no Travis Kelce. And at least just today, no Travis Kelce, no problem. Am I right? And this is not my long-term view on Travis Kelce's importance to the Chiefs. You heard me last Thursday night. I'd rather spend this time talking about how he's one of the best players to ever exist on a football field. Like, at any position, on any field, in any era. Travis Kelce deserves that sort of attention. But today, you get Derek Gore and Darrell Williams and Byron Pringle, and you're all right. A great run by Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We'll obviously update you on the injury news as we get anything there, both on Edwards-Helaire and on Tyron Matthews. Nothing new since just the reports of both of them being out. Matthew was back on the field before ultimately being ruled out. Hopefully that was them being very cautious in a game that was already in hand rather than it acting up on him unexpectedly or something. Seems like it's unlikely to be great news on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Maybe it ends up being not the worst case, but we might not know that for sure tonight. We might not find that out until the next couple of days, but we'll get there when we get there. On that, we'll give you any update we have along the way. But anyway, the Chiefs have these 2 excellent divisional games back-to-back on the offensive side in a way that I think should have filled everyone with a certain level of optimism about who they really are. And then you just get a COVID outbreak. The Chiefs won this game without their kicker or punter, as well as several other real players in addition to Kelce. It's also Lucas Niang and Rashad Fenton and lots of moving parts there. And so today, the offense comes out, and much to my surprise, looks as good as ever. Look, the Steelers aren't good, okay? They are a team with an average record that is still in the hunt in their division miraculously, but I don't think very highly of that football team right now. But this was supposed to at least look uglier than it was. This was at least supposed to have some difficulty for the Chiefs. I came into this game today expecting to get, one shot of an aggravated looking Patrick Mahomes because somebody didn't run the right route or didn't end up in the right spot or whatever, because he's out here throwing the ball to Blake Bell and Noah Gray and a lot to Byron Pringle and Demarcus Robinson and McCole Hardman and not having Kelce at all and not having a lot from Tyreek Hill even after he was ultimately, active for this game. I didn't see 36 points coming. Even against the Steelers team that I do not have a significant amount of respect for. And maybe it's overreacting on a single sample size of a game. Maybe it's silly to do this for a game against the not particularly good or interesting Pittsburgh Steelers, but it's kind of nice to just see everything look good and relatively easy without it being a Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce game. I think on some level that kind of bodes well for what is yet to come for the remainder of this season. And so for the things where I've told you, I thought the Chiefs would win this game, and even back on October 24th, I thought the Chiefs would be a playoff team, if not a division winner, right? Just at least they'd be a playoff team. I didn't see this game going quite this way today, and I didn't see the 1 seed ever really being back in play at all, honestly. Anything other than a bit of a stretch. Much less with this game today. If the 49ers were merely a competent football team this week, instead of letting the Titans come back and take that game from them, the Chiefs would have a little bit of margin for error and would have a path to actually win next week and potentially not have to play against the Broncos. They could take 2 weeks off if they wanted to. That was within the realm of possibility. Again, the Titans coming back and winning that game. Niners didn't do the Chiefs any favors. And also that reality could still happen depending on what happens with the Titans next and all of that, yada, yada, yada. The Patriots lose again. I mean, it's just so many things have ended up turning in the Chiefs' direction. But they got throttled by the Titans and haven't lost since then. I also, I don't want to overreact, for any reason, for anything, because the very nature of an overreaction means you're reacting too hard or too far on something. But if you wanted to build some sort of argument that this has been one of the most impressive stretches of Chiefs football we've seen from Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, I'd hear you out. Which is also a bonkers thing to say, considering how bad that even the winning football was just a few weeks ago. And so maybe I'm projecting through the end of the season. If they lose to the Bengals, maybe it looks different. If they lose in the divisional round of the playoffs, it certainly would feel different at that point. But at the absolute very least, they did the thing that we've talked about now. I know I've talked about this a million post-game shows in a row, so I won't belabor this particular point. But they won ugly games to keep themselves in the mix. And that kept them in the mix, and it kept them rising up the division and the conference until they could unleash what we hadn't seen from them with any consistency this year, which is a excellent stretch for the defense and an offense that looks back. You know what I mean? Back. The Chiefs' offense looks back. And now we've seen that 3 games in a row, and one of them came after a bunch of key players either did not play at all or missed significant practice time, or both. They played the game without Travis Kelce. Defense didn't have Nick Bolton, but they got Chris Jones and Willie Gay and L'Jarius Sneed all back, and those 3 guys, their impact was evident. I mean, just we said this also on Thursday night. I mean, I think that there was an argument to be made that they won that game against the Chargers without 3 of their 5 most important defensive players. I think you saw tonight what it looks like whenever they get those guys back, which makes perfect sense. It's just kind of a wild... It is a wild pattern, cycle, roller coaster. Everything that this season has been, we went from expecting the Chiefs to largely do some of these things the easy way, and they had to do it the hard way. And then as soon as things got to a point where it would have made sense to have to grind through it the hard way, they started making it look easy again. which is why, for me at this point, I fully expect them to just keep winning. The Bengals were a fire-breathing dragon today. The Bengals are a little spooky to me in terms of a team who could actually give the Chiefs some trouble. We'll get there when we get there. And presumably they'll have healthy, available, fully practiced Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce to have what could be one of the most fun games of the season if both teams bring their A game. And maybe it'll flame out. Maybe the Chiefs defense will make all of those guys look like they're still the year away that I thought they were. Who knows? But next week will be fun. And there's no need to skip over the fact that the Chiefs just beat the Steelers. And I believe what I saw from our friend Matt Derrick, who will join us later in the show, was the largest margin of victory for the Chiefs over the Steelers ever. Hope that feels pretty good for everybody. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Here's what the Chiefs got you. And a little bit of help from some other places around the NFL also, getting it to where you could spend some of your Christmas money on some AFC West Champions gear if you'd like, because the Texans beat the bleeping Chargers today. I don't know what to tell you about that. I'm ready to talk about Chiefs Steelers for the remainder of the night. I don't know what to tell you about the Chargers and the Texans, man. That is a strange one. So we'll hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes at some point. I bet this feels like a Byron Pringle podium game, but I feel like we've had a couple of those. We'll see. Maybe we get I don't know. We'll see who we get. We're all Zoom again, so the audio quality actually should be pretty good for the radio side of all of these things. But we might end up flying even more by the seat of our pants in terms of just getting where we're going here as we bring you whoever it is that ends up at the podium. Plus later tonight we'll hear from Mike Tomlin. Maybe we even bring you Ben Roethlisberger. It seems like that could be fun. But also I'm co-hosting the Border Patrol tomorrow, so I'm probably not going to push us into the wee hours of the evening. Do a little 5-hour post-game show. Probably not tonight. We'll probably try to stick around at 3. I'm getting the thumbs up from Beards on that front as well. If you want to sound off on the game, lots of ways you can do it. You can call in, as we'll start taking some calls here in a second, 913-388-1010. Or you can do what I think is a pretty good way of getting in touch, which is to watch the show on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube channels. Facebook.com/SportsRadio810, Twitch.tv/SportsRadio810, or YouTube.com/810WHB. You can watch the show there. You can look at me. You can watch the comment section roll by and interact with each other and send your comments to us here on the show. Plus, you can also tweet us at Sports Radio 810. I am at JB Brisco, and we'll take our first couple calls here in just a second. But first, I'll tell you this on the front end. More good news from our friends at CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Our team's score is your % off. They scored 36 points, so you get 36% off all day tomorrow at CBD American Shaman. CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather. It's even better. The 36% discount all day tomorrow. Also brought to you by Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly. Let's hit the phones, and then we'll take press conferences as they become available. Plus, if you get any injury updates, I will bring those directly to you as well. But first up is Travis. Travis, how you feeling after 36-10?
I feel good, Brisco. How about you?
I got no complaints. My nose is running a little bit, but I that's really my only complaint.
So, I'm going to be honest, man. I just don't see a team in the NFL beating us right now. I mean, Green Bay, I think, could probably give us some trouble, maybe. But even that, this team is playing so good right now. And I still think they have room for improvement, which is the scariest part of it.
Yeah.
If you're not a fan of the Chiefs, I mean, you're looking at the team going, man, they still have, and they did all of this today without Kelce, pretty much without Tyreek Hill. I mean, he played, the first series or two and then was out, I think, for the most part. But kind of what I wanted to talk about was the Clyde injury. Mm-hmm. I saw a lot of people on Twitter talking about how this was a huge blow. And even Seabolt, I saw Kay say, for anybody who wants to say that Darryl is better than Clyde, like he's not. And I just don't understand. I guess I don't understand how you can look at the two running backs and definitively say that Clyde's better. I feel like the offense is way more efficient when Darrell is in the game. I think he's more of a complete back. Clyde, he just doesn't seem to. I don't know. He dances around and he finally gets going upfield and he does good. But I mean, one of the first carries of the game, he had a wide open hole to the left. All he had to do was cut back, and instead he ran into two defenders and just went down for a 1 yard gain. And Darrell probably cuts that back and gets 3 or 4 or 5 yards. And I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see what everybody sees. For somebody that we spent a first round pick on, how can you look at these running backs and say that he's definitively better than him or Gore? I don't get it. So maybe you can help me understand why everybody thinks that, but I don't see a huge difference between Darrell and Clyde. So.
Travis, I appreciate it, and I'll tell you what, I'm not going to be your man to talk you off of that particular take, because, look, I mean, this is... I hate ending up at this point because I feel like it ultimately just makes me seem like a hater, which I really don't enjoy being. Stop nodding at me, Beards. I'm trying to get my tone better on all of this. So hear me out. Losing Clyde is bad for the offense because it's bad for the running back rotation. We were talking about this during the game, though. It's wild, shocking to me. I would have been floored to know this when they drafted him. To say that we're at this point right now, most of the way through the 2021 season, and Clyde is kind of the first and second down back. Darrell's your third down back, and Gore comes in whenever somebody else needs a breather. And I would have flipped that on its head with my expectations when they drafted Clyde. Now, look, I tweeted literally earlier today that I can't stop thinking about this Chiefs offense if it had Michael Pittman or T. Higgins. They've both had really excellent years. They went the 2 picks right after Clyde did, and I said at the time, very sternly, to a point that got lots of people very upset with me, that this team needed receiver depth, both in the immediate and for the long term, and a receiver they could develop much more than they needed a running back, because you just shouldn't draft running backs in the first round. Running back position is largely a crapshoot, and you can see in Darrell and in Derek Gore, 2 running backs off of the undrafted free agent pile who were able to come in and be incredibly productive and impressive, and especially for Williams. I mean, he's been doing it for a little bit. Gore's still late in his rookie year here, but that's how the position works almost 100% of the time, statistically. You will have your Derrick Henrys who pop up, and you go, man, that offense looks different without him, and that's totally fair. You'll have an Alvin Kamara who you go, man, this dude is playing that position in a kind of different way. But it's really hard to find them. And even the guys like a Christian McCaffrey or a Saquon Barkley, who everyone knows is great at that job, they have a very hard time staying healthy because of the physical demands of that position. And that's all been an element of the whole running backs don't matter conversation. And I've left that phrasing mostly because I don't know that it's helpful anymore. I think it's very hard for individual running backs to move the needle. And I think we can all say at this point that Clyde hasn't been one of those guys that moves the needle, both in his usage and in his actual performance. I think he's the most talented running back on this roster, but I also think it's interesting because the point that Travis just made there of the offense looks more consistent or more dynamic or whatever his word was. I would use either of those, I guess. When Darrell's out there, I think is also in part because of the stuff they run when he's out there. The Chiefs trust Darrell Williams in pass protection more, and they use him in the passing game more, and he's rewarded them for that. He's had a fabulous season as a pass catcher out of the backfield, despite that not being his reputation at all out of LSU, earlier in his career here, any of those things. And so I think that, again, I don't want to belabor the point, especially not, an hour after he left with what could be a season-ending collarbone injury. I don't want to fling any dirt or anything like that. But I think it's pretty clearly evident at this point that he's not going to move the needle in this offense. So I don't think you should sweat it. I think that the offense is going to rise as highly as Mahomes and Andy Reid and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce push it. That'll be where the ceiling goes. Your running back can help you set your floor. And again, I wish nothing but the best for Clyde and certainly hope he's back and as healthy as possible as soon as possible. It's just I don't think it's ultimately going to matter very much for this offense to try to be reasonable and relatively, freewheeling about it and everything. Again, hope he's as healthy as possible as soon as possible. The injury update on Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a shoulder now. It was originally reported as a collarbone, but Andy Reid there indicating that it's a shoulder for Clyde. They'll know more tomorrow on him. So we'll have to wait around and see what ultimately happens there. If it's shoulder rather than collarbones can basically only break, right? Or not. It's kind of, although I guess Tyreek Hill had that sternoclavicular joint issue where it kind of popped in. We'll see on that. Reid's saying we'll see how bad it is tomorrow. Sort of a dark way of framing it, but we'll find out about that. Collarbone, shoulder, whatever it ends up being. More information tomorrow on that. And then Tyron Matthews out with a quad, ultimately referred to as a left quad contusion now. That makes me think that it was probably more of certainly a legitimate injury that he suffered, but that he was out of the game because it was later in the game and there was no reason to bring him back in there. And hopefully that's a situation where he's able to play through it if it's a playoff game or even a closer game against the Steelers, etc. So we'll see where we go from here on the injury front. We have some time to take a few more calls, though, before we go out to press conferences live from Arrowhead. Up next is Java. Is it Java or Jabba? I think it's been Jabba. It says Java now on the phones. Go ahead and put Beards on blast if you got your name wrong again. What?
No, you got it. It's Java.
All right, Beards wrote Java, like the coffee, it's been Java,
No,
right?
Java, like the Hut.
Like the Hut. Beards is a Star Wars guy, too. I don't know. He just gave me one finger. It wasn't the one that I expected it to be. It was more of a weight there. Anyway, Java, what's on your mind? Sorry, I can't get your name right. How about him, Java?
6 straight AFC West titles, baby. Let's go.
It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable and unmatched in the entire history of the AFC West. Never been done before.
Hey, hell yeah, I got that number 1 seed. We'll go to Super Bowl and we're going to win it.
At this point, man, I don't know who would pick anybody else or why you would.
I hope you guys had a good Christmas. Peace.
You too. Happy New Year, Jabba. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's where we're at now, right? If we don't get bogged down in the little stuff and spend too much time talking about injuries, which is not nearly as fun as yelling about the fact that they've won 6 in a row, it's literally unprecedented. And they did it. They did it like just rat-a-tat-tat. The season wasn't over after the loss to the Titans, but it was bleak. And now it's 6 in a row. We'll talk to our friend Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest later here on the show tonight. He just tweeted this. The Chiefs lost to the Titans in 2019 and proceeded to win their next 13 games. The Chiefs lost to the Titans in Week 7 and have won 8 in a row. A 13-game winning streak would end with a Super Bowl victory. Pretty good work there from Matt. Let's keep it rolling. George, you're up next. What's up, George?
Well, sir, you would have been happy with a 6 seed, wouldn't you?
Not really. I mean, it would have been better. It would have been nice to just have them in the playoffs, but I'm happier now.
Of course you are. But I'm just talking about there, but for the grace.
Sure, sure.
The dice rolled so strangely for you guys this year.
Yes, absolutely.
It is a testament to the good fortune of good coaching, good leadership, good management. Mm-hmm. Because it takes a lot to keep the people that we do have, that you do have on the payroll. Yeah. I mean, there are some wise, unfortunate, but wise cutting. It's just like a tree. You've got to trim it a little bit to make the branches grow more full. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, I do hope you had a very full holiday with you and yours.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. Hope the same for you.
And the one thing that I would point out, and again, I never root against people. I always root for. I would like to see Ben Roethlisberger, whether it's next week or the following, go out on a winning streak and ride off into the sunset.
I think that is a lovely wish to have, George. And I don't know who they end the season with off the top of my head, but I will. I'll take a look, and maybe they have a game they could close out over the Browns or something.
I'll give you one more.
Okay.
That is. So the Chiefs win next week. Mm-hmm. Okay. will fiat that. They play Denver last.
Yes.
If they've clinched the division, if they've clinched the number 1 seed, and they've got people waiting to get healed, okay? Why risk it?
Yeah.
Don't even play.
Yeah.
Forfeit the game.
I think game checks might become endangered then. I'm not sure, just sort of CBA-wise.
I think Clark might let that slide. Because, again, think about it. You can always blame COVID.
Sure, just put everybody on the list.
You can always, and here's the one thing. It makes Denver go further back in the draft if they have another win.
That's also true. I actually kind of like that. George, here's the thing. And, George, great to hear from you. Hope you also had a great Christmas and a very happy New Year to you.
You betcha.
Appreciate it, George. Here's the thing on that. Because they would need, again, the Niners really bleeped this up for the Chiefs. Because if the Niners could have held on against the Titans, this is a very real conversation that we're having here tonight. But if the Titans, and I don't have the whole schedule next week committed to memory just yet, but if the Titans lose next week, and the Steelers end out their season with the Browns and the Ravens, which is why they could still actually end up winning the division, that division is crazy. It's 9-6, 8-7, 7-7-1, 7-8. Those are your AFC North teams. What a bonkers division. But if the Titans were to lose next week and the Chiefs beat the Bengals in a way that ultimately sets it up to where they cannot lose the 1 seed, I'm opening to see who the Titans are playing next week. I should know this already. It's the Dolphins. They're a weird team. They could win that game. It would have been great if the Niners would have held on. But if you're in that spot, I don't think that there is a reasonable argument to make for putting Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce out there in a meaningless football game. Patrick Mahomes, for that matter. Tyron Matthews, your starting offensive line. Everybody this late in the season, everybody is banged up. Everybody's got a nagging something if they play at all. And look, I know that Andy Reid is a guy that will put his starters out there in the preseason whenever other teams are starting to move a little more cautiously in that regard. And also, the Chiefs have had plenty of opportunities to not play their guys in Week 17s in years past recently. Obviously, this year would be a Week 18 game because it's a 17-game season. Still just the one bye. But if they get to a point where they could not play in that game against the Broncos, I mean, they're going to fill up the stadium still, and they're going to sell the tickets, and everyone's going to get their checks and all that. But if you run your second team out there to play that entire game, give it to Shane Buechele if you want. Maybe there's something to have Henne out there, to get ready just in case the playoffs call on him for a series or two. Henne looked a little rusty today, just couldn't handle a snap, not ideal. But not only for the sake of just some rest and not having to worry about that game and taking your time, if you, in a meaningless Week 18 game, do have an injury to a player like we've seen today, Clyde, Tyron Matthews, what if something happens to Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce or to Orlando Brown, and all of a sudden, Prince Tego Wanagho is starting at left tackle in your first playoff game, or Andrew Wiley is, and Lucas Niang comes back, whatever it ends up being. That would be crushing. And I think that you can say, well, but you don't want your starters to have 2 weeks off. I mean, I guess. I understand that you can do a little rest versus rust sort of thing. But I would rather have everybody be healthy. And if your first series doesn't go quite as well in your divisional round game, because Patrick Mahomes hasn't thrown a meaningful football in 3 weeks, I would call that a good problem. I'd rather have everybody healthy and fresh. We'll see if that ends up even being a factor. Again, the Titans and Dolphins play at noon next week, so we'll see that game going on as Chiefs-Bengals is happening at noon next week. I would love to be able to do that math for you on next week's postgame show. But right now, something to keep an eye on and, root for the Dolphins again. See if the Dolphins can give the Chiefs another leg up on this one. It is the Sports Radio 810 WHB postgame show here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. I'm Joshua Brisco. Beards McFly and Rudy Salazar producing the effort. Beards, we need to sneak in a quick break, or can I take a couple more calls while we wait for the podium to point our direction? You tell me. Beards hates it when I make him make these decisions, but I don't have all the information, Here's what we're going to do. Butch has been waiting on hold for a little while, so we're going to get Butch in here, and then everybody else hang tight, and we'll play. We're going to have to improv it like Patrick Mahomes in the pocket. But, of course, we got to feed our playmakers. So, Butch, tell me what's on your mind.
Gentlemen, how about those Chiefs?
How about them, Butch?
6 in a row? My guy, 6 in a row? I don't even have 6 fingers on one hand. I could barely count that high. We count them in the building. You feel me?
Butch, I'm sorry to cut you off. Clark Hunt just showed up at the podium. I'm putting you on hold. We're coming back to you, Butch. Here's Clark Hunt live from Arrowhead.
Performance all the way around by all 3 units. And, of course, clinching the division title the 6th straight time that we've done so with Andy as our head coach. Just a tremendous job by him, his coaching staff, in what I know was a very challenging week from a coaching perspective.
We'll go first to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Clark, you mentioned clinching the division with 6 straight years. And as a man who appreciates history, what does it mean to you when you think about that 6 straight AFC West division titles?
Yeah, well, as I think back over the last 15 or so years, I remember in those early years being excited in a year where we were in the running to win the division, and never thought about winning the division 5 or 6 times in a row, in part because no AFC West team has ever done that. We became the first to do it today. Just a tremendous accomplishment all the way around. Lots of credit to be spread around the team and the coaching staff and the entire organization.
We'll take 2 more. We'll go Adam and then Bahe. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Clark, you talked, congratulations, by the way. You talked a minute ago about what a challenging week it was for Andy and the coaching staff in particular. What did you see from him and the coaching staff this week that sort of allowed them not just to handle this and get through the week, but for you guys to play as well as you did tonight?
Yeah. Well, this is the type of week where it's so great to have an experienced coach like Andy Reid, somebody who is so steady, somebody who has seen virtually everything that the NFL can throw at them. Although I know this week was something different, and Andy mentioned that that he was this was a different challenge. But his preparation is so thorough, his staff's preparation is so thorough that they were able to get the guys who were able to play ready. And I thought they came out, right from moment one and played one of their best games of the season.
And we'll go last to Vahe. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Clark, congratulations. Also, sort of along the lines of what Adam asked, but I wonder if you could go back to when you guys were 3-4 and how much you were churning over what you thought this team could be and what you think you've seen change to get it to where it is now.
Well, I think we were all scratching our heads to some degree at the beginning of the season. We'd seen some really positive things from the offense. They'd moved the ball up and down the field, but we'd failed to convert a lot of those opportunities in large part because we were giving the ball away. For some reason, the defense was having a hard time getting on the same page. We were making mistakes, which we had not seen over the last couple of years. And then in the middle of this year, it all came together with the defense starting to play better. And that's really just continued on a week-by-week basis. And then I think over the last month, we've seen the offense get back to the type of offense that we're used to seeing with Andy and Patrick working together. I thought their performance today was, among the best I've seen this year. I thought Patrick was right on point. Just a great job of him working with the offensive line and the receivers that we had available. The running game was strong. And I don't want to miss giving a shout out to our fans. In terms of a game right after Christmas Day, it was great to see so many Chiefs fans here in red, and it had to be one of the loudest games that I can remember this year. So credit to the fans for also bringing it today.
Clark, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much.
There's Chiefs Chairman and CEO Clark Hunt live here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. My apologies there, Butch. I know Beards gave you the lowdown there as we cut you off. If you want to give us another gentleman, I'll give it to you, Butch. You deserve a second pass at it if you'd like.
Hey, you know what? We're just going to get right into it,
Get
man.
into it.
Look, I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Again, I try to come on every year and just let you know how much I appreciate just being on here and talking to you and talking about Chiefs football. I've lived in Seattle this entire time. I don't get a lot of opportunities to speak to actual Chiefs fans. Well, this is my turn sometimes to run my dang-on mouth where people actually seem like they care, and I'll do it here again, man, 6 in a row. I can't recall a time where Patrick Mahomes this season has looked this comfortable. And that was supposed to be a good defense. They got something figured out with Keith Butler. And usually the Steelers, you see them play their aggressive, their fire pressure zones like they try to do. They did the same thing basically that they did last year. They stopped blitzing after a while and just went back into two-deep shell and ran variations of cover 2 and proceeded to get shredded. I guess they just thought their guys were going to be able to find ways to man up and break up. They just didn't, guys. And this is like the 6th or 7th game in a row where I've been looking at an interior offensive line play during the game. And, God, Creed Humphrey is just so good. He's so consistent. He mauled Cam Hayward. He mauled Cam Hayward. That doesn't happen every week. Cam Hayward's hopped back on the plane right now talking about, man, next time we play these guys, I might have to bring a couple buddies with me to stop this Creed Humphrey guy because I got moved. It's fantastic to see. This is when, you know, the big contracts we give out, this is how you supplement it with great talent, great coaching, great leadership. 15 and Andy Reid they're Joe Montana and Bill Walsh. I can't overstate enough just how gracious I am to watch what's going on right now, because this rarely happens. We went from a team that was dead in the water to now dominant. Don't let anyone tell you there are no dominant teams in the AFC. You're looking at it. This is it. And we are on a collision course with you, Tom Brady. Savor the flavor.
Butch, I appreciate it every week. I love hearing from Butch, man. Butch has it figured out. I'm going to let him take us to break. You're listening to the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. Here's the rundown of the rest of the show. We'll take a few more calls. We'll eventually hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, plus whoever else the Chiefs bring up to the podium. The whole shebang is brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB, presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman. Sports Radio 810 WHB is your official home for Family Leisure Bowl season. Presented by Adams Toyota and Grin Eye Care. We have all the live play-by-play of the biggest games, including Kansas State versus LSU in the Texas Bowl, Oklahoma versus Oregon in the Alamo Bowl, Oklahoma State versus Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl, Baylor versus Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl, and all the action from the college football playoffs and national championship. It's all on Sports Radio 810 WHB, your home for college football.
Shopping for a new car can be fun and frustrating. Other car shopping sites share and sell your personal information, which means your phone and inbox get lit up and you can't make it stop. OneRequest does not sell or share your personal information, and that puts you in control of your shopping experience. At OneRequest, you communicate with dealers anonymously. When you're done shopping, simply delete your request and all communication stops. Hello, car? Goodbye, spam. Don't just search for your next car. OneRequest it. Visit OneRequest.com today.
Hey guys, it's Grunny here for my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather.
Mark your calendars now, January 20th through the 23rd at the KCI Expo Center. It's the RV Show presented by Unlimited RV. Millions of dollars of RVs all under one roof, and they all have lifetime warranties. It's January 20th to the 23rd, the RV Show at the KCI Expo Center. Forest River, Keystone, Coachman, Winnebago, and more. January 20th through the 23rd. Only $5 to get in, and the kids are free. It's the RV Show presented by Unlimited RV. RVShowKC.com. That's RVShowKC.com. More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Plus, players have 3 nights a week to play Powerball. Now Monday nights. Every ticket you play creates opportunities for Missouri students. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly.
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sports Zone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience. Find games, commentary, news, and highlights all in one place. Use the voice remote to get instant access to stats and scores. Just say, "Show me NASCAR" or football scores. Plus, get notifications with breaking news alerts and more. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
A KC tradition since 1957 and voted the best steak in Kansas City, Hereford House is a locally owned steakhouse that has served generations of Kansas Cityans. Hereford House exclusively serves certified Hereford beef. All their steaks are aged 21 days, hand-cut daily, and grilled over an open charcoal flame. Go to HerefordHouse.com for hours, new menu items, and to make your reservations. Follow Hereford House on Facebook and Instagram for exclusive specials. Hereford House, voted Kansas City's favorite steakhouse.
First and goal. 5 yards out. Trickery. Makes it. Looking everywhere. Surveying, and throws it for the touchdown. It's Pringle with the catch. And a second touchdown of this opening quarter for Kansas City.
That's our Mahomes magic moment of the game, brought to you by BOK Financial. Whatever you want your company to be, there's BOK Financial. Be ready with BOK Financial. Member FDIC. Back out live to Arrowhead Stadium. McCole Hardman at the podium right now.
Next man up, and we just got to, go from there.
Go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
A simple one for me. I just was wondering if you could describe the touchdown play and just how confident you were that you had gotten over the pylon, even when they were maybe questioning it.
I don't know, man. I felt like I was over the goal line, and but it was definitely close for sure. I really didn't know until I seen the official give me the touchdown call, and I'm like, all right, bet. And then they like, oh my, everybody got there. I'm like, oh, don't take it away from me like that. Don't take this touchdown away from me. But overall, it was a touchdown, so it was good to get back in the end zone. So overall, good play.
We'll go 2 more. We'll go Nate and then Harold. Go ahead, Nate.
Cole, I just wanted to ask you, what led you to believe that you guys were going to play so well during practice this week? What could you tell from the guys and from yourself about how you guys were preparing that would give you the confidence to perform this well?
I mean, coming to practice knowing, Tyreek might be out or Trav might be out, you got to take a different mindset and prepare better than you used to prepare. And I think we went out there at practice this week and we was, preparing the best way we can and just doing everything necessary to be ready for the challenge, ahead of us on the Sunday or today. And I think we took that challenge on very well and did the best we could do, and we came out to win. So
we'll ask to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
McCole, 2 quick questions. One, just winning the division, considering you guys were at 3-4 at one point, how much does that mean to you guys? And then also, just how difficult was it dealing with this week, knowing that you had to come in, knowing some people might be in, knowing some people might be out? How was that? How'd you handle that?
I'll answer your first question. It's just one of our goals on our list that we want to accomplish. The first goal always to win the AFC West, and that's what we did today. And then we got more goals we want to accomplish down the road. So that's just one of the goals that we needed. And this week in practice was just, like I said before, it's a different preparation, because once you got two of your guys that's maybe not going to be able to play or, going to be inactive, it's, you got to take a different mindset in going into the game, because it's going to be plays that need to be made, and it's going to be catches that need to be caught. And we, we got to be the people to do that. Like me, myself, me, Pringle, D-Raw, Kemp, like whoever's in there, we're going to have to make those plays. And I think we did a good job in preparing for this game. And when our number called, have a good game like Pringle did today, 6 catches, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, had a hell of a day.
Nicole, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
There's McCole Hardman here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. A lot of talk there about the preparation, obviously, and everything that went into it this week, knowing that Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce were going to be out, limited, whatever it was going to end up being. Also, according to just an exclusive report from Beards McFly of Sports Radio 810 WHB, McCole Hardman wearing a Santa hat during the press conference. More Santa hats in Victoria's press conferences. Back to the defensive side, veteran linebacker Anthony Hitchens here live from Arrowhead.
AFC West championship since you've been here. I mean, I know you guys have bigger goals, but what kind of achievement is this for you guys, particularly given where you started? And Brad, again, I'll have a second question.
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot. Anytime you want to get to your goals at the end of the year, this is the first step. So this is the first step for our organization and our team. So we're not done. We're not satisfied. Enjoy this one tonight like it was any other week, and then time to turn the page.
Okay, and also, I noticed I know you were on the other side of the ball from Pat, but did you notice anything different? He seemed really focused today. You notice anything different about him during the week or today at all?
No, not really. It's the same old. Pat's always focused and dialed in. I know probably early in the week or even later in the week, he didn't know if he's going to have all his weapons or whatnot. I'm not sure if that played a part or not, but Pat's always locked in and focused. That's our guy. That's our quarterback. I didn't expect anything less from him.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Anthony, you got the best view of this. I'm just curious to your thoughts on just how relentless the front four has been for y'all, and how much that is leading to a better defense all around.
Yeah, our front four has been dominating. The more they dominate, it's easier for everybody else. We could sit back and too high and don't have to bring 8 guys in the box. We don't have to pressure as much when those 4 guys are, and they're about 8 or 9 of them because they rotate a lot. But when those guys are dominating up front, it makes our job easier, and we can just sit back and play too deep and win games like this. So when those guys are playing well, it definitely helps our defense and our team.
Next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Anthony, I have 2 quick questions for you. What did you think you learned about the coaching staff this week, having to go through so much shuffling to get you guys prepared, and maybe what led to their success? And why did you think you guys sort of came out the game so good against the Steelers, considering what you guys are dealing with this week?
Yeah, I don't think it's just coaches. At the end of the day, players got to play. There's a lot of guys that stepped in and did what they're supposed to do. I wouldn't sit here and say it's all coaches or players. I think there's a combination of everyone putting in the work to get this win. So, I mean, some young guys played, some guys played out of position, in different positions, but we came together as a team. So it's not really one thing or the other. I think it's more us as a team coming together and getting this win.
Hitch, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Here's Anthony Hitchens live from Arrowhead. The Zoom press conferences, I would say, have not been lengthy today following the victory, but we do get to go to Byron Pringles. He up right now. Let's hear from the Chiefs receiver with the biggest game of the day, Byron Pringle.
Hey, Byron. I wonder if you could take us through that first touchdown, because that was a play that certainly wasn't designed that way. But Mahomes had a lot of time to find you, and you ran around. What did you see on that play, and what did you do to get open?
I was just bouncing in one spot, waiting for him to roll out left or right, and he rolled left, and I just tried to get in the quarterback view. And, playing with Pat, you got to stay alive. So that's what I did.
Go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Ema, Byron, how you doing tonight?
Ema, how you doing?
Hey, I'm well, thanks. And Merry Christmas to you as well. Obviously, a lot of unknown entering this week, but how did you mentally prepare yourself, knowing that this game could have you could be without Travis Kelce and even maybe Tyreek Hill, but he was there. So what did you do mentally?
Like Coach said, just get in the playbook and be ready to take advantage of your opportunity that come your way. So I was just trying to come out and no pressure on myself, just take advantage of my opportunity and play and just have fun with it while I'm doing it.
Let's go next to Lila. Go ahead, Lila.
Hey, Byron, being able to, have the first, multiple touchdown day of your career, just, what does that mean to you as a guy who, went undrafted and, had to work your way up from, the practice squad and to have the role you're having this year?
Just don't never give up on yourself. Just keep working, keep grinding. Don't look who in front of you, who behind you, who on the side of you. Just keep going day in, day out. And have that want-to-know mentality. Just win.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Byron, without Travis and without Tyreek at practice this week, do you notice anything different about Pat? Was he more focused or dialed in than normal, or just the same old Pat?
He was just the same old Pat, communicating with the receivers and the tight ends and the running backs. Just wanted us to go out there and just have fun while we're doing it. Nothing too serious. Just go out there and take advantage of the opportunity. That what he was just preaching to us all week. Just take full advantage of the opportunity that's given to us. And he said that before the game as well.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Byron, similar question to Lila. This is obviously one of the better games of your career. What's the key when you have guys in front of you, like maybe you did, to staying patient? How do you have such a knack for remaining patient and kind of letting this type of game come to you?
Oh, man. See, I fish a lot, and you never know when the fish gonna bite the bait. So it teach you patience, just go in and grind. Don't look who in front of you. As long as we come out with that dub at the end of the game, that's all that matters to me as a player and as a teammate. Just as long as we win and I executed my plan and took advantage of the opportunity that was given to me, I'm okay with it. So.
And we'll go last back to Herb. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Brian, I can't help but notice your shirt. It seems like it reads Chiefs Run the West. Okay. What does that mean to y'all? I mean, obviously 6 straight AFC West Division titles. So what is the overall mood in the locker room, and then how pumped up are y'all right now?
Man, we pumped, man, because, the coaches put in a lot of hard work and hours. The players put in a lot of hard work and hours in the offseason. And I love when they come together as one and we keep succeeding to keep winning games day in, every weekend, and how we attack the week. We go in hard work, and just smiling and executing the plays and take advantage of the opportunities.
Byron, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir.
There you go, Byron Pringle. At least the end there kind of a little bit interesting. The division title obviously is not the extent of the Chiefs' goals, but it is something that they take some pride in, and some pride in doing it year after year after year after year after year after year. That is not an exaggeration. I counted to 6. That concludes our locker room report here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll take some calls here in about 30 seconds right after this.
The Chiefs Locker Room Report is brought to you by Twin Peaks. No one does football like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, they have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu, second to none. And don't forget about their 29-degree man-sized drafts at Twin Peaks.
Let's take a few calls here as we continue to roll on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, brought to you by Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Been waiting on the longest here. We go with Doug. Doug, appreciate you waiting through the press conferences. What's on your mind after 36-10?
Hey, Joshua. Happy holiday.
To you, too. Thank you, Doug.
I've been looking at the standings here and doing the math, and you can double check me on it.
Okay.
I want to talk about the standings of this mention. I think Cincinnati is a real concern going on the road next week. But I know you haven't had time to do the math. If the Chiefs win one more game, Cincinnati or the Broncos, even if the Titans went out and take the number 1 seed, if we have a loss, we will have wrapped up the number 2 seed. And that gives us potentially 2 playoff games before going to, let's say, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was really helpful for Buffalo to take out the Patriots.
Yes, I agree.
I wish the 49ers could have found a way to take out the Titans, but again, I think this coming weekend is probably after the Chargers game last week. I think the Cincinnati game coming up is probably the biggest, most important game we'll have during the regular season.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, Doug, and I will check your math, but I think you got it right. Appreciate you listening again. Happy holidays back to you.
Okay, you take care, Joshua.
Thank you, Doug. So here's what I'm looking at on the standings page. So if because the Chiefs lost that head-to-head to the Titans, if they are evened up with the same record at the end of the year, the Titans end up taking the 1 seed. We know that. If the Titans win their final 2 games, which are versus the Dolphins in Tennessee and then in Houston at the Texans, they win those 2 games. They end their year at 12-5. If the Chiefs split the Bengals and Broncos games, they're also 12-5. So the Titans would have the lead there. Yes, again, right now the Bengals, Bills, Colts, Patriots are all 9-6. Now, again, the Bengals, if they were to win next week, would join the Bills and Patriots and Ravens are 8-7. So I think we're clear on that front. Sorry, there's a lot of math, a lot of teams with similar records here, but they would join that group with the tiebreakers. The Titans have the head-to-head. The Bengals could win the head-to-head. Again, let's assume the worst for next week just for this exercise. The Bills have the head-to-head. The Patriots have the AFC record tiebreaker, conference record tiebreaker. The Colts most likely, the Colts would as well because the Chiefs would lose to the Bengals and they'd got dropped to 6-5. The Colts are 7-3 right now in the AFC, so that's the next tiebreaker. So the Chiefs more often than not here would lose ties. Okay, just play by that rule. Now, if they do end up sticking as the 2 seed, now it would be kind of interesting if they lost to the Bengals. Is there a world in which they're like locked into the 2 seed? I guess not really, because you can still see the Titans stub their toe against the in the 17th game there when the Titans go out to the Texans, who can apparently beat some good football teams because they did it today. Shout out to the Texans. But if they ended up in the 2 seed, there's 2 elements of that I think are still really important. One is that you're right to say, hey, well, that gives the Chiefs 2 games to host at Arrowhead in the playoffs. That's a major advantage, of course. The other thing, though, is that the Titans are going to end up in this reality hosting the Colts or Patriots or Ravens or Chargers or in this world probably not the Bengals or Bills, but could potentially be the Bengals or Bills. Right now, if you said, hey, even in Tennessee, do you want the Titans or the Bengals, Bills, Colts, Patriots, Ravens, or Chargers? I think I'd lean towards the other team in any of those matchups. And so, of course, if the Titans were to lose in the divisional round, then the Chiefs would also once again host the AFC Championship game as the 2 seed, presuming that they would get that far. So it's not 1 seed or bust, but it's such a huge advantage to not only be able to skip that first week of playoff action completely because you can't lose, but also to get that time off, to only have 2 games you have to win to be back in the Super Bowl, 1 win to get to the conference championship game. It's just a tremendous advantage if you can be that 1 seed. And I expect the Chiefs to very much play for that. But if they lose to the Bengals next week in what will be a huge and hopefully pretty fun game, then things would certainly get a little bit more tumultuous. Next caller here, we'll go to Sean. Sean, thanks for waiting on hold. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Yeah, I thought the Chiefs clinched tonight with the win and the Chargers loss. I might have been mistaken.
No, they clinched the AFC West tonight. The division is over. The division is the Chiefs for the 6th consecutive year.
Okay.
But the number 1 seed still up in the air, probably going to be Chiefs or Titans.
Okay, well, all right. Well, so I was looking at the division then.
Right.
So anyway, I just want to think about offensively and defensively. I'll tell you what, that first half of the game today, the Chiefs defense looked so good.
Yeah.
It looked good.
Yeah.
It looked very good. I don't know if well, we all know Ben Roethlisberger is old, but, the Chiefs, they stepped up defensively. Offensively, I like the way that they ran the ball. They actually ran the ball this game. And Byron Pringle, hats off to him. Good game. Patrick Mahomes was comfortable going to him. And it was a good thing to see.
Yeah.
Without, Travis Kelce wasn't there.
Yep.
But just to see somebody else step up besides Kelce and Hill, and see Pringle step up like that, it was a good thing. It looked good.
Absolutely.
We look good moving forward, and the way this defense and offense is coming together. I mean, me personally, I think we're going back again.
I have no argument against it, and I appreciate the call, Sean. I think you're totally right. Whenever you look at, again, the things that this team has been doing so well, as you talk about the defense again here tonight, again, the Steelers are not good. That offensive line is a mess. Roethlisberger's a mess, but they have some really talented skill position guys. Look, I spent some time at the top of the show talking about running backs when asked about it. Najee Harris is a really talented running back in a brutal situation where his offensive line is a nightmare, his quarterback is not helping, and the Chiefs were beating him to spots. There was that little toss play on 4th and 1. There were like 4 Chiefs to the spot that Najee Harris wanted to end up at. The Chiefs' defense as a whole beat them there. You saw Roethlisberger try to go to a couple of those wide receiver weapons he has, and the Chiefs' defense held up remarkably well over the course of this game. They're legitimate. At some point, and I'm not saying that our last caller is doing this, but we got to stop being surprised. I'm saying this to myself more than anybody. We got to stop being surprised whenever the Chiefs' defense completely holds their own. Also, I'm probably going to predict a final score of like 34-28 for next week because I think the Bengals offense is legitimate. But if the Chiefs end up winning that game with a little convincing swagger there with the defense holding up their end as well, it shouldn't surprise us. They've been good now for long enough that it is not a fluke. They gave up some points against the Chargers, but they did it without 3 of their 5 most important defenders, maybe 3 of their 4. This is a legitimate unit, and it's kind of a beautiful thing. Because, again, who else would you take right now? I would not make an argument for anybody else, at least in the AFC. And really, I don't think I make an argument for anybody else in the league, which is such a hilarious turn from where we were 2 months ago. Last call for a little bit here. We'll go to Dan. Dan, tell me how you're feeling.
Hey, Joshua, how you doing? Happy Merry Christmas. I had a great Christmas myself. And how about those Chiefs? 6 straight AFC West titles. Never before done. How about Byron Pringle stepping up for Kelce? 2 touchdowns. And even though Tyreek Hill had 19 yards on the receiving, everybody stepped up. The defense is legit. I think we're going back. Let's take care of the Bengals next week, and let's see the Dolphins take care of the Titans so we can get a week off like we did last year. Remember that last game at Arrowhead. So let's go. Take care of yourself, Joshua.
Appreciate it, Dan. Always good to hear from you. One thing both of you guys, just the last 2 callers mentioned that I wanted to circle back on. Totally right about Byron Pringle to say, hey, the Chiefs had somebody not wearing number 10 or 87 or 31 or 40 or 25. Another receiver stepped up here. And I think that Pringle being kind of the guy on that would have been my bet just in terms of which receiver might get a little extra work. Although I thought McCole Hardman would have a bigger day just without Tyreek Hill being out there as much as he was. But, whatever his usage was, we'll figure that out more. And that would have probably been different if Hill wouldn't have played at all. But something that we just talked about a little bit there, Patrick Mahomes seemed to be willing to trust Byron Pringle. He didn't really have a choice, right? Because there was no Travis Kelce. There was not very much Tyreek Hill. And then Pringle had 1 drop and had a wonderful day built on both sides of that, before and after. The drop, that is, before and after the drop. That's a huge thing for this offense to find in itself and to hopefully regain down the stretch here. And it's just a tremendous addition to what this offense can do if you can get a consistent performance. It doesn't have to be Pringle every week, but just from a third guy to complement Hill and Kelce. And today it was a third guy to really step up and be kind of the number 1 target today. Huge day for Byron Pringle. Well-deserved accolades being thrown his way here. We'll take a break. Whenever we come back, we may be ready to get you to Andy Reid and then perhaps Patrick Mahomes. We'll hear from both of them certainly soon. Looks like we will be able to have Andy Reid on the other side of the break. Plus, our friend Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest was out at Arrowhead. We'll talk to him. And if you want to leave your comments in various places on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube channels, you can do that. You can call in as well. We've got all sorts of ways you can interact with the show as we continue to discuss the fact that not only are the Chiefs winning this game here, have they won this game here 36-10 over the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they've won their 6th consecutive AFC West championship, something that's never been done before in this division. 2 months ago, they were below 500, looking outside in. This is the season that the Kansas City Chiefs have put together. We'll talk more about it whenever we come back.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power Powerball. Now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays.
Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC. Right now, they're one of the few dealers in KC that includes a free lifetime powertrain warranty on all new vehicles. Can you imagine driving a truck for over 200,000 miles and having the transmission replaced for free? That's what this lifetime warranty offers and more. Don't go to another dealer that sells you a 3-year, 60,000-mile warranty. Go to Roberts Robinson and get the lifetime warranty. Check them out online at robertsrobinson.com or view their Roberts Robinson Facebook page. See dealer for details. At BOK Financial, we believe that no financial challenge is too big and no opportunity too small. We're guided by our commitment to make a difference in the communities we serve. BOK Financial. We are community focused.
At Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia, they're so confident in their new vehicles, they're offering a 90-day money-back guarantee with no mileage restriction. From the 2022 Kia Telluride to the 2022 Sportage or Soul, get what you absolutely want or return it if it's not right for you. Plus, all new Kias are backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Command the season in a new Kia from Robert Brogdon. Shop OlatheKia.com or stop by. Just a short drive from I-35. Customer must register vehicle. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Are you losing your hair and feel like you don't know what to do? We are here to help you. Hi, I'm Dr. Spencer Egan with Acentus Hair Restoration. We can help you get your hair back using state-of-the-art robotic hair transplant technology. At Acentus Hair Restoration, we care about maintaining the hair you have and replacing the hair you've lost. Book your free consultation for a personalized plan and feel like you again. Call 913-914-5975 or visit kansascityhairtransplant.com.
Hey, Kansas City, this is Stephen St. John from the Border Patrol, and I would love to wish a Merry Christmas to everyone listening to Sports Radio 810, including Patrick Mahomes II, because I love you. Now, let's hear from Nate Bucati. Oh, Nate, I can't believe you said that on the radio.
Happy holidays from the Border Patrol!
And God bless us, everyone.
More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Plus, players have 3 nights a week to play Powerball. Now Monday nights. Every ticket you play creates opportunities for Missouri students. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly.
Golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the biggest Callaway trade-in event of the year. Starting this Thursday through Sunday, bring in any of your old clubs and receive a 75% trade-in bonus towards new Apex irons and Epic woods. Both the Apex and Epic families are designed with artificial intelligence for faster ball speeds. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com or call the store nearest you to schedule your free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Kansas City, you're on the clock. Jason Anderson here from MainStreetPreowned.com. If you've been looking for a quality used car, truck, or SUV, I've got the answer. MainStreetPreowned.com. All makes, all models, over 500 used vehicles to choose from, all with dealer cash rebates up to $2,000. MainStreetPreowned.com. Their inventory is constantly changing every 15 days, so it all has to go and is constantly being restocked with more. MainStreetPreowned.com. That's MainStreetPreowned.com.
The Whole Person connects people with disabilities to the resources they need to live independently and enjoy the many opportunities this great city provides. We're focused on creating a fully accessible community where opportunities and choices are not limited by disability. The Whole Person delivers programs and services that enhance the confidence of people with disabilities by providing the skills needed to live, learn, and work in the Kansas City Metro. The Whole Person serves both Missouri and Kansas. Learn more by visiting thewholeperson.org.
8-minute drive and counting.
That's what we said. Kansas City's developed the ability to do that. I didn't think they were able to.
Look at this stuff. Oh, and he breaks the tackle. Edwards-Helaire for the touchdown. He was stopped in his tracks by Robert Spillane. And just when it looked like it was over for a 2-yard loss, he bounces out of it and heads home for the score.
That was a fantastic play there from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's our play of the game, brought to you by Central Bank of the Midwest. We also have a little update here, actually. We thought we might not get any real updates on the Clyde Edwards-Helaire front until tomorrow morning. But we have here from Ian Rappaport, says X-rays on the collarbone of Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire were negative. He'll have an MRI tomorrow to determine how serious it is. So certainly positive news there. Not a broken collarbone, according to Ian Rappaport, which might, if the Chiefs already knew that when Reid went up to the podium, maybe the thought there when I think Reid you'll hear him say this. I think he said shoulder. And so maybe they knew that the collarbone wasn't actually the issue and there's going to be something else in the shoulder that they'll figure out. But not a broken collarbone, according to Ian Rappaport, for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And hopefully the good news continues there. That's a very good start, though. I mean, depending on what it ends up being, there's still a wide variety of what his shoulder issue could potentially be. But seems very likely that the worst case scenario is probably the broken collarbone, and it sounds like that bullet in particular was dodged. So again, I've told you, this offense will be fine with any NFL caliber running back there. It's how this offense is going to work. It's how most offenses work. Certainly hope that Clyde is healthy and able to continue to contribute through the remainder of this year, or even just once the playoffs get here. Hopefully for him, for the Chiefs, for everybody, that he's healthy and good to go. Let's hear from Andy Reid in his own words. We'll get his injury report in just a second, plus his entire press conference. But first,
Andy Reid is presented by Robert Brogdon Buick GMC and Robert Brogdon Olathe Kia. Visit BrogdonAutomotive.com. And by Andy's Frozen Custard. Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy. Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
We'll start with the opening statement here from Andy Reid, including the injury updates on Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Tyron Matthews.
Really, just the two injuries are Clyde, who hurt his shoulder, and we'll just see how bad it is tomorrow. And then the Badger has a knee contusion, or a quad contusion, I guess it is. And so he came out too at the end there. Listen, my hat goes off to the fans. What a great job they did right from the coin flip on. I mean, they were loud. So we appreciate all of that and more. So listen, I want to just mention the kickers, or Fry, the kicker, and then Townsend, the punter, for the job that they did. And it's never automatic, even with all the time spent with the center and the holder and the kicker. But these guys, they came out and did a great job of making it look easy. Not such an easy thing, but they really did a nice job. Offensively, defensively, and special teams were all clicking. The coordinators, the coaches, the players were phenomenal. And that's the way they were all week. They came in with great energy. And just play their tail off. I mean, I can go from Ward on down through with one-handed interception was phenomenal. I mean, all the way through this thing. Pat again having a good day. The defensive line having a great day. The secondary, the linebacker. I mean, everybody kind of put it together and did great. The offensive line, wide receiver. So it was just it was a nice day all the way around against a good football team. I mean, you play a Mike Tomlin football team, you know it's going to be full of grit and determination. And so our guys, I thought they did a nice job working with that today, and we ended up coming out on the best end of the stick on this one, and so happy for everybody.
There's the opening there from Andy Reid again. I'll tell you one more time here that the wait for tomorrow portion on Clyde Edwards-Helaire is that he'll have more tests done tomorrow, but those initial X-rays were negative, which is obviously a good thing. And maybe Andy Reid knew that about the collarbone already at that time, and maybe not. But either way, he says shoulder, so we should find out more about Clyde and his timeline whenever he gets more tests there done tomorrow. Big story of the day within the grander picture of the Kansas City Chiefs. 6 in a row on the AFC West. Absolute dominance from the Chiefs, winning the division once again. Here's Andy Reid on that achievement.
Yeah, so listen, we don't take any of those experiences for granted at all. I know we get a free T-shirt and a hat, but there's a lot of sweat that goes into this, a lot of effort, pushing through things that you normally don't have to push through to get to work, and both mentally and physically. And so proud of our guys for how they handled it, proud of the coaches for how they handled it. And it's a great honor. So we'll enjoy it here for a day or two, and then we got to get on to a real good Cincinnati team. So
they got to get on to Cincinnati. That much is true. In the meantime, though, it is nice to remember that, again, I don't know if everyone listening right now, I don't know what percentage of you are on your way to get a new AFC West Champions T-shirt, or maybe you're going to wait and see if you can't get yourself another AFC Champions T-shirt, or do you even wait until the Super Bowl's in the bag and see if you can get yourself another Super Bowl Champions T-shirt? I'm not sure what everybody's logic is, but if you're on a stretch of collecting AFC West Championship gear, you can buy that shirt and hat for the 6th year in a row, and certainly those guys don't take it for granted. I mean, I saw this tweet, I'm looking at it again now here on my phone, of Josh Gordon with the hat and the T-shirt and posting it on his Instagram story, it looks like, and then tweeted it out as well, just, saying gratitude with a little prayer hands emoji, little peace sign emoji. And the one thing that, if you're, obviously Travis Kelce's not in the locker room right now because he's in the COVID protocols. I don't know if Travis Kelce's ever going to put on this year's AFC West T-shirt. I don't know. He's got 5 of them already. I don't know if he's kept all of those. I don't know. But he's won that honor many times. Josh Gordon is a new addition. I bet that, Orlando Brown Jr. and Joe Tooney have obviously in Baltimore and New England done plenty of winning. Also, your rookies, Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, they just entered the NFL. They've got these in year 1. There's something to appreciate here, even though it has become almost a rite of passage every year here in the AFC West.
Byron Pringle was wearing his during his post-game interview.
And he did it with maybe the game of his career in the game that clinched it. So he should, and he's got a couple more. This isn't his first AFC West Champions T-shirt, but it's probably the first time he's been at the podium wearing one, if memory serves. So, I think that's kind of interesting, because I think it'd be pretty easy to be Bill Belichick at the podium and go, we got a free. And I mean, Andy Reid made it kind of as a joke of, we got a free T-shirt. We got to get on the Cincinnati. But this is a tremendous achievement. And this year, you maybe you appreciate it more whenever it just about didn't happen on the AFC West front. Things looked pretty touch and go for a little bit. Got a little sketchy out there for a minute. I'm sure that they're appreciating that very much in the locker room, and something we shouldn't fully gloss over, even though the Chiefs have done that with incredible consistency. Here's Andy Reid on if he said anything to Patrick Mahomes this week when it looked like Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, who did play, but when it looked like both of those guys might not go today. Did Reid and Mahomes have any conversations about that?
You know what? This was really it's going to be underscored here, I know, but this is one of his great games. And he only played 2.5 quarters. but the way he was seeing things and handling himself out there against one of the better pass defenses in the National Football League, I just, my hat goes off to him. But he never flinched with, he wanted the guys there. I mean, those are two good football players. So, but he never flinched on it. He got in and got work done during the week with the receivers that stepped in. So we were confident that if we didn't have Tyreek, and then we didn't have Kels, but if we didn't have either one of them, that we'd still be efficient. And we had the run game too. So both runners, I thought, did a real nice job today. Really, all three runners actually played well.
Yeah, don't lock out Derek Gore here. Come on. He had another great little game.
Wide receiver Derek Gore.
Basically a wide receiver. And Rita's right. I mean, I think that this can go down as what will ultimately be an underrated performance from Patrick Mahomes, because as a couple of our callers mentioned earlier, on the way to 23 of 30 for 258, 3 touchdowns, it's not a box score that will jump out at you other than it was very efficient, but he looked comfortable and precise while throwing, 21 of those completions to players not named Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce. Against the Chargers, that game was almost literally Patrick Mahomes to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Next game, Tyreek Hill was 2 for 19. Travis Kelce wasn't on the field. And they also had an excellent offensive performance. There's something nice about that. That's pretty good. Obviously, Byron Pringle ended up being the biggest benefactor of his opportunity. A great game for him. Andy Reid was asked about his performance today in the absence of Travis Kelce.
Yeah, listen, I joke him all the time that we're gonna get a commercial going here for Pringles. I mean, he's done a heck of a job. How many masks do you have on, Herbie? Holy Toledo, huh? My goodness, you're gonna suffocate yourself.
Double layered, Coach.
All right, I got you. So, but listen, he did a great job. He had the one drop, but I don't know, he was 7 for 8, whatever it was, whatever that stat was, and just did a tremendous job there.
It's so Herbie Teope of the Star occasionally is a double layer mask guy. They caught Andy Reid off guard. I didn't see Herbie today. You have like a Darth Vader mask or something? I'm curious here. So we've gone back to the Zoom world in a post-COVID outbreak week for the Chiefs. Yeah, it was a huge game for Pringle. He did have that one drop, and then everything around that, he was excellent. And like we talked about earlier, seems to really genuinely have the trust of Patrick Mahomes as to be one of those guys also that can drop a pass, and then Mahomes will just go back and keep firing there. That's huge. On that first touchdown pass to Pringle and the different elements that took place over the course of that play, Andy Reid talked about all of the different ways that all came together and how much he loves watching those plays as an offensive coach.
I love that, Matt, like a big piece of prime rib, man. That's how we get excited with it. So that's when everybody's working together, you're tough to stop. So you know what a piece of prime rib tastes like, doggone it? Yeah, you and I both do. So all right.
I think that Matt is our friend Matt Derrick. We'll talk to you later. I'll ask him about it. I'll ask him if he's a big prime rib fan. You get a doggone it, and you know Andy Reid. You know they just won a game. I don't know if Andy Reid's ever dropped a doggone it after a loss. It's in a pretty good mood whenever that's the little phrase highlight of the day. That's pretty good. Here's Andy Reid on the offensive success today and kind of taking the approach of playing the game as is, not worrying about making sure that any one particular player got the ball, and what Andy Reid thinks about that sort of angle on all this.
Yeah, so listen, I thought the coaches did a nice job of putting it together that way. EB heads that up and just keeping it real for the guys that had a chance to step in and play and play fast. So he manages that whole thing, and when it starts feeling heavy, then he backs off some things. So the guys responded and did a nice job with it.
Hey, Andy. I know you've got the next man up mentality going all the time, but that was a lot of next man up. And I just wondered, how can you account for really such a seamless game with so many guys out?
Yeah, the guys all play together, which I don't think you can avoid talking about that. The team aspect of it. I was most proud of that part on both sides of the ball, special teams, supporting each other. I mean, everything wasn't perfect, but they supported each other when there was a problem, something didn't work. Nobody was pointing fingers or any of that. Everybody hung together, and it's a real good team effort.
I mean, it was. And again, it takes a lot of different moving parts to move in the same direction for a game like this today to come together, and it certainly did. So now, as Andy Reid will answer in this question, are the Chiefs hitting their peak?
Yeah, so, I mean, we played well today, but this league is so up and down right now, Vahe. It's crazy. So you got to be spot on every week. We've obviously got a lot riding here, so every game means something to us, and we've got to be even sharper, keep increasing, and the play. So we're gonna work on that, but we're gonna enjoy this one, but first, and then we're gonna start working on that.
This kind of plays into the thing about not overlooking the AFC West whenever you win it, even though you've won it 5 times before this, in 5 consecutive years. But I always kind of appreciate whenever a coach, and in this case, obviously, Andy Reid, mentions, hey, we got a lot to work on. We're going to work on all those things. We are going to enjoy this for a second. It seems like never being able to soak in a little bit of that seems like kind of a miserable way to go about it. And I think it seems like Andy Reid and at least the guys from his coaching tree generally seem to have a pretty good attitude about that. Last thing here from Andy Reid, who was asked about Patrick Mahomes looking like he's feeling about as confident as ever with the offensive line in front of him and his relationship with those 5 guys.
Yeah, listen, I think they all know each other better. Right? That's so important for a quarterback. Just moving, just the little subtle movements in the pocket against a 3 technique, right? Things like that. So how are you going to move yourself and still be able to make a viable throw for a receiver to catch and not hurry your feet or do any of that, not knowing exactly what the guys up front are going to do. So he's worked extremely hard on that. His relationship with those guys is unbelievable. Those guys have worked extremely hard on that with their consistency. We got a couple of young guys in there, and they've worked themselves through some of those rough early stretches and have done a real nice job. So it's been good that way.
It really has, and back on that first touchdown pass to Byron Pringle, Patrick Mahomes had enough time to build a gingerbread house celebrating, this wonderful holiday season. Like, he had an eternity, and he has really looked good in those little movements, working around with that offensive line. I mean, it's something that we've been talking about since training camp, and that I've been asking those guys whenever I've been at press conferences, literally from training camp through 2 weeks ago, I think, whenever Orlando Brown was, or just. If not me, someone else would ask. It's not the hardest question to ask in the world. But it's been something that I've been interested in literally since this whole offseason overhaul of the offensive line, because no one will ever tell you that a quarterback just snaps perfectly into place with his offensive line in their first week together, and nobody ever would tell you that an offensive line would, your left tackle would immediately sync with your left guard right away, and your center with the guards around him and all of that. It is an evolution for that unit, and that element of it, I do think it's easy to say the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and that offensive line have really found their spot. And Mike Rimmers is still on IR. Lucas Niang was on the COVID list today. Actually, to be clear, he's not on the COVID list right now. They activated him off of the COVID list yesterday, so they had a chance for him to test out today. So technically, he's on the active roster, but was inactive today. Presumably, he'll be back sometime in the next few days, just as soon as he can produce a negative test. But they've been doing it with Andrew Wiley for a decent chunk of this season, for when the times when Rimmers and Niang were unavailable, including today. And so whoever's been at right tackle, it's worked. The other 4 guys have been the same guys in those spots consistently, and they've been very good there. And then the rotation of those three at right tackle have all been really excellent. It's been a good time for Patrick Mahomes behind that front five. We'll take a break here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Missouri Lottery, play responsibly. It's also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. We'll take a break and come back. We'll hear from Patrick Mahomes next here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brought to you by Casey's own CBD American Shaman. Come on into your local shaman store for a free sample of stress-sacking CBD. Everything is better with the feather.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Family Leisure's After Christmas clearance sale is here. Family Leisure has the best prices of the year on closeout, scratch and dent, and overstocked products, and bonus deals for you if you mention 810. Pool tables, foosball, air hockey, bars and bar stools reduced by up to 70%. Hot tubs, tanning beds, and home theater seating at their best prices. Family Leisure has the best products, best selection, and best prices guaranteed. Take advantage of the special 810 deals while they last. Family Leisure, K10 and Ridgeview in Olathe.
Awesome!
Ryan Radke here from Westwood One with a preview of Sunday Night Football when the Dallas Cowboys host the Washington Football Team. At 10-4, the Cowboys have won 3 straight, including 2 weeks back at Washington. Dallas sits atop the NFC East, but needs a win to keep pace in the conference seeding race. Join Rod Woodson and me for all the action. Washington at Dallas on Sunday Night Football.
Kansas City's home for the National Football League. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Mark your calendars now, January 20th through the 23rd at the KCI Expo Center. It's the RV Show presented by Unlimited RV. Millions of dollars of RVs all under one roof, and they all have lifetime warranties. It's January 20th to the 23rd, the RV Show at the KCI Expo Center. Forest River, Keystone, Coachman, Winnebago, and more. January 20th through the 23rd. Only $5 to get in, and the kids are free. It's the RV Show presented by Unlimited RV. RVShowKC.com. That's RVShowKC.com.
Hi there, Gary Giles with Giles' Jewelry. Everybody knows Giles' Jewelry is the place to buy an engagement ring. Thousands of diamond rings, quality second to nobody. Come on into Giles' 95th and Antioch, right in front of the big high B. Giles' Jewelry, we're the jewelers you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Jocelyn's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
Hi, I'm Jordan, president of Digital Lagoon, a web and design agency. This year I'm proud to be celebrating 25 years in business. Here at Digital Lagoon, we can provide you with a strategic digital marketing strategy. With the implementation of social media, SEO, and online advertising, these programs are proven to improve your website traffic. Let us collaborate with you to structure a plan and cut through the digital noise. Check us out at lagoon.com. That's lagoon.com.
Hey guys, it's Grunny here for my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather.
Mark your calendars now, January 20th through the 23rd at the KCI Expo Center. It's the RV Show presented by Unlimited RV. Millions of dollars of RVs all under one roof, and they all have lifetime warranties. It's January 20th to the 23rd, the RV Show at the KCI Expo Center. Forest River, Keystone, Coachman, Winnebago, and more. January 20th through the 23rd. Only $5 to get in, and the kids are free. It's the RV Show presented by Unlimited RV. RVShowKC.com. That's RVShowKC.com.
WHB Kansas City.
Yellow. We're good. You got 48. Let's go blue. From the 16, first down. It's Pringle. Checks off one time. Oh, lowers the head and gets to the end zone for a touchdown. The Steelers are just sleepwalking through this one. They're getting beat on every single play. Physically, emotionally, it's just not there.
That's one of my favorite Jim Nantz calls of all time because you get, all right, he breaks one tackle. No! He shakes him off. Touchdown! And then you get Jim Nantz absolutely burying the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are being beaten. They are sleepwalking through this game in every facet of the game. That's our sweet play of the game, and a great call to boot. It's all brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. 'Tis always the season at Andy's Frozen Custard. Stop by now for their famous Santa Brownie Sundae made with store-baked brownie, or try the Andy Nog Shake. Perfect for a midday pick-me-up, and you can make it rain Andy's gift cards this holiday season. It's not too late. It's the day after Christmas. You're thinking, oh, bleep, I didn't get a gift for somebody. Do you know what will keep them from caring about the fact that you may be missed by a day? Getting them some Andy's gift cards. You know how exciting that would be? Just do that. It's a perfect stocking stuffer starting at just $5. That's all at Andy's Frozen Custard. We know where you got that grin. I think since they've updated the copy and had our little tagline at the end there, I think the Chiefs have, well, they've definitely been victorious because they haven't lost any time recently. And so the Chiefs and Andy's Frozen Custard both giving you plenty to smile about. We will also make our way over to Patrick Mahomes, who I'm sure had a smile on his face during the game, over on the sidelines after the game was wrapped up, and Chad Henne was out there fumbling the ball constantly, and at the post-game press conference as well. We'll get to Patrick Mahomes here in about 30 seconds.
Patrick Mahomes' press conference is brought to you by your Kansas City Acura dealers. They are partnering with Patrick Mahomes in support of his 15 in the Mahomes Foundation. Test drive to make a difference and enter to win a Mahomes jersey. By Xfinity Internet. Stay connected with Wi-Fi coverage that delivers the speed, reliability, and coverage you need. Can your internet do that? And by Westlake Ace Hardware, your home convenience store. Ready with the best brands and the right advice you need to get your quick fixes done even quicker. Stop into your nearest neighborhood Westlake Ace Hardware today.
We'll get going here with Patrick Mahomes. Here's Mahomes when he was asked if there's any benefit to not having to worry about getting his main guys targets with Kelsey being out and just going out there and letting it rip.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any benefit from it. I think it was just we went through our reads the same way. We put guys in position to succeed, and they stepped up and made those plays happen. I mean, a lot of those routes sometimes are Tyreek or sometimes are Travis, and they seem like they're always making plays happen. We threw guys like Pringle, guys like McCole, guys like Noah into those positions, and they made plays happen and kind of filled that role the best they could.
And then I realized that you said on Wednesday that you didn't want your preparation to change because those guys may or may not play. Did it really work out that way? I mean, not even minor things changed throughout your game planning this week?
Not necessarily. I mean, I just went through my preparation like I usually would. In this league, you're not going to have every one of your guys every single week. So guys have to step up. And that's why we built the receiving room, we built the tight end room, and then we built the running back room the way we've built it, is so that whenever guys get their opportunities, they can step up and make plays happen. And so I'm just going to go through the reads. I'm going to find the open guy, and we have a lot of good players in this team that are going to make plays happen.
There's something to that, right? I mean, look, this is not going to end the show today with me saying that actually the Chiefs' offense is better without Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill. We're not going there today. Absolutely not. And no time within the next 3 or 4 years, I would think, will we get quite to that point. But I think there's something very interesting about, hey, we've got guys in this room that have some similar skill sets, and maybe you're not going to get a ton of work from McCole Hardman or from Noah Gray whenever Hill or Kelce are out there. But they're not going to be out there every single game. This is the first meaningful game that Travis Kelce has missed in ages. The entire time that Patrick Mahomes has been here, the only game that Patrick Mahomes started without Tyreek Hill, or excuse me, without Travis Kelce, was the Week 17 game back in 2017. These games where the starters have rested, Kelce has rested, but he's been out there with Mahomes every game since Mahomes became the actual starter until today. Making it to this point is, with that stat, is remarkable. I'm sure he'll be glad to have Kelsey back, but there is some talent still in that room, and it would be great to have more consistency whenever Hill and Kelsey are out there cooking. Been a weird couple of weeks from the stat line perspective of the pass catchers, but a good effort there today with the guys that did step up for the offense. Patrick Mahomes here was asked if he still has some appreciation for winning the division, knowing that they've won it every single year he's been here and wanting to have bigger goals. But also, again, we've talked a lot tonight about the guys talking about how they do appreciate the division title. So where's Mahomes land on that one?
Yeah, I do 100%. I mean, this year as much as any. I mean, if you look at the AFC West, I mean, every team's still battling for a playoff spot. I mean, it's a tough division that you have to go in with the mindset of we have to win the AFC West divisional game to get where we want to be at. And so to be able to win the AFC West, kind of get that first goal. I mean, obviously, like you said, we have more goals that we want to go after, but this was the first one. And to take this step, we got to build that momentum into the playoffs and try to make a run at it.
That makes sense to me. You want to appreciate what you've done, and then also take that to higher goals than you'd have right there. Here's Mahomes when he was asked about looking as good as he has all year, really, especially behind that offensive line, as we talked about earlier, and if he thinks there's any reason why he thought he played as well as he did with all of the uncertainty leading up to the game this week.
Yeah, I think it's just continuing to try to get better and better. I mean, I feel like even in the last few games, there's still throws here and there that I've been missing, and Coach Reid's been preaching with me to kind of work on the fundamentals and get back to who I know I can be. And today we had a good day of that, but we can't be satisfied with that. We still have a long way to go. I'm going to continue to work on those fundamentals, continue to try to be better and better. And when the offensive line's blocking like they are, it does make it a little bit easier for you.
I mean, fair enough on that front. And he hasn't, been completely perfect, but it's funny how we talk about that very differently. The little misses here or there whenever everything around him is working versus what those little misses look like whenever nothing appears to be working. It's kind of interesting. Here's Patrick Mahomes on that big play, the shot down the right side, the Derrick Gore. Really a tremendous one all the way around. He was asked about that big play to Gore and his thought process during broken plays like that.
Yeah, I was really almost getting ready to run, and at the last second I saw DG running down the sideline, and I just put it out there for him. I just tried to extend the play. I realized that I'm not the fastest guy, so it's usually a better option to get it to the fast guys and let them run. So I can run and get first downs, but usually when you want touchdowns and big plays, you find ways to get it to those speed guys, and they do a great job of getting themselves open.
And it was a great catch and great ball tracking by Gore, and I thought Mahomes was going to run it whenever I saw the when I saw the play happening in real time, and then even on the replay, you go, well, he had a lane there, but sees Gore open up, and again, you want to talk about Mahomes trusting his guys that he hasn't necessarily thrown a lot of deep shots to. I'm not sure how many times Derrick Gore has been the guy streaking down the sideline and having to track a pass from Patrick Mahomes. I imagine that's not been a terribly frequent thing, even in practice. But he was there for it then, and it worked out in tremendous fashion. Here's Patrick Mahomes asked about how different it is working with this offensive line now compared to the beginning of the season with all those pieces coming together like we talked about a little bit earlier in the show.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you're with a group of guys for that long, I mean, you understand what they're doing. You get a feel for how they're blocking guys. You get a feel for where the pocket is, where you can kind of step up and find kind of reset in the pocket to find another throw. And I think they've gotten a feel for me. They understand how to change how they block versus how I drop. And I mean, obviously with those young guys in the middle there, they've gotten more and more reps. They've seen more and more stuff. So they've obviously gotten better and better. And we got a lot of talented guys up there, and it could be a real strength for us going into the playoffs.
Last thing here from Patrick Mahomes, the performance of Byron Pringle today and what he brought in a 2-touchdown performance where he really made some huge plays, including the one you heard just a minute ago.
Yeah, I think it's just I just think he plays really hard. I mean, at the end of the day, I think he just goes out there and he kind of puts it all out there. He does what his job is. He understands his role in the offense. And then whenever he needs to make a play, he seems like he makes plays. And another thing, he doesn't get down on himself. I mean, you look at the play he almost made over the middle, which would have been a heck of a catch. And it seems like the next play, he makes another play every single time. And he's a guy that loves football. He loves being out there, and someone that'll be a big part of our offense going forward.
He's been a pretty big part of it off and on all year, and presumably just nothing but more good things to say about the performance there today from Byron Pringle. We'll take a quick break. Whenever we come back, we'll talk to Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. I think he's probably still out there working from the press box at Arrowhead. Last time we had him on, or one of the times recently we had him on from Arrowhead, he was sitting on a couch that he assumed some terrible things had happened on, you know? That was a real late-night game, though. It's only a little bit after 8 o'clock here. So I'm not sure where he'll be at Arrowhead, but we'll talk to him live from Arrowhead whenever we come back. But first, I'll let you know this show, as always, is brought to you by Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Our team's score is your percent off. They scored 36 points, so you get 36% off all day tomorrow. CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Kansas City, you're on the clock. Jason Anderson here from MainStreetPreowned.com. If you've been looking for a used vehicle, MainStreetPreowned.com has it. All brands, over 500 used vehicles are available at MainStreetPreowned.com. Every used car, truck, and SUV comes with dealer cash rebates up to $2,000 just in time to pay off those credit cards from the holidays. They make the process easy, and they've got your vehicle now because they turn over the inventory every 15 days. MainStreetPreowned.com. That's MainStreetPreowned.com.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Sports Radio 810 WHB is your official home for Family Leisure Bowl season. Presented by Adams Toyota and Grin Eye Care. We have all the live play-by-play of the biggest games, including Kansas State versus LSU in the Texas Bowl, Oklahoma versus Oregon in the Alamo Bowl, Oklahoma State versus Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl, Baylor versus Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl, and all the action from the college football playoffs and national championship. It's all on Sports Radio 810 WHB, your home for college football.
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sports Zone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience. Find games, commentary, news, and highlights all in one place. Use the voice remote to get instant access to stats and scores. Just say, "Show me NASCAR" or football scores. Plus, get notifications with breaking news alerts and more. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
Hear exclusive Chiefs coverage every week from the best in the business. Only on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Trent Green, Adam Schefter, Tim Grunhard, Adam Teicher, Matt Derrick, Adam Kaplan, Chef Shadia, Nick Leckie, Gary Barnett, Sam Mellinger, Bill Moss, Mark Bowrichter, Stan Weber, Sam McDowell, Seth Kaiser, Blair Kirchhoff, Kevin Harlan, Field Yates, Jesse Newell, Cynthia Freeland, and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Clogged drain? Leaky faucet or toilet? Dealing with a plumbing emergency? Homeowners who care call Kate's. And if you call today, the service call is free. Call Kate's at 913-888-4470 or visit katesheatingandcooling.com to schedule your plumbing appointment today. And the service call is free. 913-888-4470. Kate's Heating, Cooling, and now Plumbing. Service makes the difference.
Robert Brogdon's Olathe Buick GMC is announcing a worry-free guarantee on new Buick and GMC purchases. That's right. Buy any vehicle, and if you don't love it, they'll take it back, no matter the mileage, and refund you 100% of the purchase price. They've got the area's best selection on new models like the 2022 GMC Yukon, Sierra 1500 Limited, and Buick Encore GX. With this offer, there's never been a better time to buy. Visit robertbrogdon.com or check them out at I-35 in Santa Fe in Olathe. Customer must register vehicle. See dealer for details.
Could be one team in and out of the AFC North when it all shakes out. They play each other in the next 2 weeks. Most cases. 2nd and 7. Here's Hardman. Hill throwing the block.
And Hardman able to dodge a defender and find the end zone. Mecole Hardman with his 2nd score of the season.
Nice play there from Mecole Hardman. A nice play drawn up during the week, and good execution all the way around. We'll make it our Andy Reid Call of the Game, presented by Olathe Subaru. At Subaru of Olathe, let your love give back during the Subaru Share the Love event. Find your new Subaru now at SubaruofOlathe.com. really is a good performance from a lot of guys. Again, as we're in this kind of funny, bizarro world from the Thursday night game, last time the Chiefs took the field, where everything ran through Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Tonight, there was no Travis Kelce at all, very limited Tyreek Hill, and everybody else stepped up, and in both of those games, the offense looked really good. We'll talk about all that with Matt Derrick live from Arrowhead, brought to you by Bob Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, Rooter, and Electrical. You better buzz Bob, now offering electrical services, panels, wiring, generators, updating fixtures, they do it all, offering a whole home electrical inspection for just $99. Call 888-4BOB, remember the 913. Matt, I mean, there's a lot of different places I'm sure we'll be able to go over the course of looking back at this game, but did you expect to see a 36-point output, especially if I would have told you that there'd be, 2 total catches between Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce?
No. I mean, and I go back to I know someone recently asked me, is this sustainable that the Chiefs can continue to win games when Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill put up all the yards? And apparently it's not sustainable, and it doesn't have to be sustainable because apparently there are other guys on this team that can make plays.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is that this is me being at least somewhat prescient in that I thought there was and I told people the last couple of days that I felt like there was a reasonable chance that the Chiefs were going to just absolutely put a beat down on the Steelers. But if they did it, I thought it was going to be because Andy Reid just decided to have fun and empty out the playbook and start, just pulling out some napkins and doing some crazy stuff. And instead he comes out here, looks like he stole Marty Schottenheimer's old playbook that was laying around and runs one of the more conservative game plans that I've ever seen. It absolutely worked to a T. So I'm obviously a complete idiot.
I don't know that that's fair. I wouldn't put that on your shoulders because they did beat the brakes off of this team. But you're right. I mean, it looked very different. And for me, I mean, I'm taking this as a win. I mean, literally, obviously, but I'm taking this as a win for the Chiefs in a more sort of non-specific, non-direct kind of way, where being able to win these games in multiple ways. We've talked about that for 2 months now, right? 2 months ago, they were 3-4, and everything looked really bad. Since then, they've won some ugly games. They've won some fun games. They've had big offensive games, weak offensive games. But this one was interesting because of the dynamic of these last 3 weeks. It's been 3 good offensive games in a row, but all 3 of them have kind of taken on different identities from the last Raiders game, the Chargers game to today.
Well, and what we really have seen, I think over the last few weeks at least, has been the Chiefs answering the question, which is we knew that they are a fast starting team.
Mm-hmm.
That generally speaking, the first 15, Andy Reid's bread and butter, they've been really, really good most of the season. We know that when their backs are against the wall, that when Patrick Mahomes has to throw into that extra gear late in the game, they got that gear. The problem had just been with them, finding some consistency and just moving the football and putting up points in between in the second and third quarters. And sometimes that would be the difference between winning a close game, 19-17 or something, and it's the difference between what you saw today. If the Chiefs get some consistency in the second and third quarters, we know they can win first quarters. We know they can win fourth quarters. It's just been in between. And now we're seeing in the last few weeks what happens when this offense does. They put the beat downs on teams like this. And, I mean, they're doing it at the exact right time. So, yeah, if you're talking about having an offense that can play at multiple speeds and do whatever they need right now, the offense is doing exactly that, and they weren't doing it earlier in the season.
What do you attribute that to? And is it one of the obvious answers of, not dropping passes, not having crazy turnovers and something in there? Or there's something more fun or more interesting that you've seen?
I mean, that's probably the easiest answer. I mean, Occam's razor here.
Yep.
I mean, the simplest answer is usually the correct answer. So, yeah, it's not turning over the football. It's not committing bonehead penalties. It's not taking 5 yards loss on first down and, creating 2nd and 15 after a bad run play. But, I watched this game, and I thought I saw Patrick Mahomes more comfortable with his offensive line protection than he's been all season. I mean, he moved around a little bit in the pocket when he needed to, but for the most part, his line protected him very well tonight, and he seemed to have a great deal of trust and faith in them. I mean, that touchdown to Byron Pringle alone was a great example of just having, trust that the offensive line was going to get it done, moving around when he had to. but sticking in the pocket and making the play. And that's just something that I feel like is a vintage Mahomes kind of thing, but something we haven't seen a lot of this year. Yeah. And, and I know Andy Reid talked about it in the post game, and so maybe there is something to it that maybe that Mahomes has finally reached a point where he knows where the lanes are, he knows where the escapes are, he knows the strengths and weaknesses of guys in front of him a little bit, that, he doesn't feel like he has to be playing with an eye in the back of his head. He kind of knows where things are, and he doesn't have to maybe take off when there were times earlier in the season when he felt like he had to. Now he knows he can kind of hang in there and stick around, and where he can escape if he has to.
Yeah, that makes me think that maybe I've gotten some of the phrasing wrong whenever we've talked about the offensive line play, because we've been talking about it since training camp, and I've genuinely found it super interesting, the entire overhaul of the line and all of that. We've been talking about, like, comfort, I think, in the offensive line with Patrick Mahomes behind it. But like you said, they're kind of knowing where the lanes are developing. You're right. Today it felt like Patrick Mahomes was, quote unquote, comfortable back there because he kind of knew where his guys were going to end up being and where he needed to go. Like that there is maybe it's a chemistry more than a comfort.
Yeah, I mean, there's confidence in your line and having chemistry with your line are really two different things.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's a fine line in all of it. But, I mean, in the past, Mahomes had played with his previous line so much. And, there were a few pieces here and there that interchanged at times. But he played with those guys long enough, with Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz especially, those guys long enough, that he knew their style. I mean, he knew exactly how they were going to attack, different guys each week, just based on what their strengths were and how they did things. So he could probably tell you most of the time where Eric Fisher was behind him without being able to see him. But you get a new guy like Orlando Brown that has a different style and technique, and you don't have that same thing. And honestly, I mean, I think that there was also a lack of confidence at times, because and maybe that stems from the chemistry a little bit. But I think that certainly I think you saw at times earlier in the season that Mahomes was running when he didn't have to, and that to me stems a lot back to confidence. Yeah. But now, I think this was a great example tonight that he had faith that the line was going to protect him a little bit, and that's confidence. But I think he also has the chemistry developing once again, which is that he's got a for Orlando Brown, where he's going to be, where the guys in front of him are protecting, where their strengths and weaknesses are. So, hey, you know what? If I need to escape, I always know there's room behind Joe Thuney.
Yeah.
I always know there's a lane somewhere between Brown and Thuney that I can get out if I have to. That comes with time.
Yeah, I think that it'll be interesting to during the off season or whatever, like to go back and rewatch some of those reps early in the season compared to now. I think it'll be fascinating. On a note with the offense all coming together, and you get the performance from Byron Pringle and everything. We also saw a great run down in the red zone from Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then later he left with what looked like a collarbone, but we have the report from Ian Rappaport that the X-rays on the collarbone were negative. Andy Reid said shoulder, which we'll get the MRI tomorrow. Do you have any feel right now, based off of the information we have right now, about the severity of Edwards-Helaire's injury, and then also whatever amount of time that he ends up missing, if it's one game or the rest of the season, what you've seen now from Darrell Williams and Derek Gore and their ability to step in and help this offense not skip a beat if Clyde does miss time?
Yeah, anytime you hear collarbone, shoulder, it makes you nervous because if it turns out to be a fracture, that's something that can definitely keep you out an extended period of time. And, and we've seen, hey, sometimes you can come back faster than those, but sometimes it requires surgery. If it's like a sternoclavicular thing that like Tyreek Hill had. Yep. So there's a lot of different things, none of them for the most part good. It makes you worried, but at least getting the initial reports that there's nothing broken, the x-rays are negative, that's a huge relief. I mean, there could still be something in there. And when Andy Reid says it's shoulder, does that get more into, pectoral? I mean, there's some things that could be bad there, but I mean, I think that's at least one good positive is that it just tells you that it's probably not an extended injury. I mean, if it's more muscular, that could be something else. But, hey, take a deep breath, sigh of relief, and wait until the results come back on the MRI and see where he's at. But as far as the depth chart goes, I mean, yeah, you've got to be a little bit nervous that you're getting thin in the sense that now you've got two healthy guys with Darrell Williams and Derek Gore. I mean, you always want to have more depth. Could you be getting, Jerick McKinnon back? Maybe that's, answer to some of the depth problems. They've got Elijah McGuire on the practice squad. So, I mean, you can always throw numbers at it. But that's the only thing that makes you a little nervous is that your depth now is getting a little bit challenged. But then again, I mean, Darrell Williams and Derek Gore are playing very good football right now. Yeah. Williams had a really good game tonight. I think he had, 80-some-odd yards from line of scrimmage. Derek Gore had 104. I mean, and I heard you talking before the break. The fact that Derek Gore could make that kind of play where Mahomes just says, go.
Yeah.
And he starts running and then can haul in a catch like that. I mean, that's a veteran-type move. I mean, there's a lot of young guys who aren't going to have that, ability to, see what Mahomes is doing and telling him to do and respond to it. So I think that's a huge get. And honestly, I mean, Darrell Williams, again, showed to me tonight, why they call him Mr. Consistent? I mean, he just does everything so well. I mean, he's not a superstar at anything. I mean, it's not like he's the fastest guy or the strongest guy or the best receiver in the league or anything. But the guy just does everything pretty good. And, I mean, that's a valuable guy to have because we've seen, I mean, Damian Williams was essentially that same kind of guy.
Yeah.
And Darrell Williams is kind of Damian Williams 2.0.
I almost made this sweeping statement, and I thought there was a pretty good chance that I was going to sound dumb if I made it as convincingly as I wanted to. But Derek Gore now has caught 7 regular season in-game passes from Patrick Mahomes. Do you think he has, in practice, ever caught a 50-yard ball from Patrick Mahomes?
That is a really good question. I'm trying to remember if anything stands out from training camp that might have happened. But honestly,
because in training camp he's catching passes from Shane Buechele and Anthony Gordon.
I mean, yeah, he was kind of buried in the depth chart and climbed his way up. And honestly, I mean, during the season, I mean, how many plays does he take with Mahomes in practice? Because, a lot of times he's probably like the starting scout team running back.
Yeah. And even when he gets reps with the first team, how often do you think he's going, hey, let me just jog down the sideline here and you just put one up and I'll track it? I feel like there's a chance that is the farthest pass that Patrick Mahomes has ever thrown to Derek Gore in any form or fashion in a game. It's crazy.
This was a crazy week, but I mean, this week the Chiefs basically had 3 10-10-10 practices this week.
Yeah.
So they might have run 90 plays from scrimmage this week in practice. I mean, of those 90 plays, how many times do you think that Patrick Mahomes was throwing the ball to Derek Gore? I'm guessing not that many.
Single digits, yeah.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Oh, easily. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I put the over-under on 1.5, and I might bet the under.
Yeah. It's just fun. I love stuff like that, man. Just because it's where else do you find something like that? It's just a fun part of football. The other injury note here is Tyron Matthews, quad contusion. He was clearly hurt and then was in the next play and then later went back to the locker room and was ruled out. He's tweeted since then and everything. So my inclination or hope there for him would be that he was ruled out of the game because it was in the bag and relatively late in the game, not because he aggravated it or anything. Do you have a feel on that, or are we going to have to find out later in the week for sure?
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely the kind of things you do want to wait a day or two to see which way they go, because they can definitely be something that's a lot more sore and painful a couple of days after than it is even the day of. But the fact that with a quad contusion he was able to go back in, period, is a really good sign, because I mean, good grief, I've seen guys that get quad contusions that get carted off the field. So clearly I think that's a good sign. We'll see later in the week, but I think reason to at least keep your eye on it, but I see no reason to be majorly concerned at this point.
In fact, a couple minutes before I asked you about that, he tweeted that he said, quote, someone asked him if he was okay. He said, dude, I'm the real Wolverine, on to the next one. Now, I know he's talking about the superhero, but I think he has to pick one sort of angry woodland creature. I don't think you can be a Wolverine and a honey badger. I think he's got to pick one. Thoughts?
I would agree. And honestly, I mean, if given the choice, I still think I'd rather be a corgi.
Oh, man, you saw that, right? The halftime, I think it was halftime of the Vikings game. They had a corgi race. I want to break down the film of that for the next 6 hours. It was majestic.
It was something else. But you know what? I mean, the terrible thing is that if we started racing corgis, you know what's going to happen. I mean, performance-enhancing and cuteness-enhancing drugs are get involved.
So true.
And gambling is eventually going to ruin it all. So.
Yeah, the CEDs, though, the cuteness-enhancing drugs, like you said, those are a huge threat. And if I had a chance to bet on a corgi race, I would do it just for the sake of doing it even. Like, I just know that I would. So that's not great.
Yeah, you would definitely be freaking your gourd over a corgi race.
I can't believe that phrase is going to be attached to me forever. But, it is what it is, I guess. There was something else. Oh, yeah, I was going to ask you, I was going to ask about your thoughts on prime rib.
I'm like I said on Twitter, I am just like Andy Reid in that I appreciate an effective and efficient offensive execution, and I enjoy a quality cut choice of meat. I mean, yeah, I would absolutely gladly take some prime rib.
What was the question that got there? We heard the answer.
It was about the first touchdown from Mahomes to Byron Pringles.
That's right.
And what's his thoughts when he sees because that was a whole team touchdown.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, incredible.
Mahomes had an hour and a half to throw.
Yes.
And because I think the Steelers, I don't know, they feel like they ended up rushing like 38 guys, and none of them got through. And somehow they also had like 38 guys in coverage, and the receivers ran around for an hour and a half, and eventually Byron Pringles, wide open in the end zone, and Mahomes throws this laser sidearm through guys to get there. And that was not how that was designed. I mean, that was 11 guys all doing their job and just working until they finally got something done. And asked Andy Reid what he thought about that, and says it's like prime rib. and Andy Reid, trust me, is a man who appreciates his meat.
I mean, just the list of things that you two have in common, just men who appreciate meat. One of the many pieces of magic that you bring to the table, Matt. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. Hope you have a wonderful New Year, and I hope you have a wonderful prime rib somewhere between now and next weekend.
I hope that we all can have whatever is the prime rib of our lives for the coming year.
Wow.
Best wishes to you all.
That's beautiful, Matt. I'll talk to you again next week.
Take care, Joshua.
I actually think I'm going to talk to him this week on the Border Patrol, now that I just realized that, which will also be a joy, because I love talking to Matt Derrick. You should also love reading his work at ChiefsDigest.com, following him on Twitter at Matt Derrick. I don't know why you wouldn't at this point. If you care about the Chiefs, prime rib, anything along those lines, you gotta read the work at ChiefsDigest.com. Again, follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick. I'm Joshua Brisco. Beers McFly on the other side of the glass. Rudy Salazar running around producing everything else here. We will bring you the second half of Dallas and Washington. There's been a sideline fight with the Washington football team. A punch was thrown and connected. Pretty good joke here on Twitter from Ari Mirov, who you may know from at My Sports Update, retweeting the video of the punch thrown. Says, turns out Washington does have heated benches. That's a pretty good joke, because there's the whole thing about the Cowboys flying in their bench. You might remember. I was looking at Beards, and Beards didn't seem to remember that, and so it's fine. That might
understood it.
Okay, then it was just sort of your natural occasional glazed over look.
I was just here in the moment. That was all.
It just cuts in sometimes later in a show, or I just look at Beards for a glimmer of recognition. I don't get anything, so I over-explain. It happens. But in this case, Beards, it's a heated bench because the tempers and the emotions were heated. Do you get it, Beards?
If you say so.
It's the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. Chiefs 36, Steelers 10, and we'll hear from the Steelers side of things whenever we come back. Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger. Oh, I forgot to play the Najee Harris clip. We'll do that whenever we come back. Matt won't hear it, but you'll be able to hear it because I meant to play it when we had Matt on the line, and I forgot, and Beards was zoned out, and Rudy was in a different room. And occasionally these things happen. It's the show and all of that majesty is brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Your money management is now manageable. With an account from Central Bank, you'll have all the tools and technology you need to move, manage, and maximize your money the way you want, when you want. And you have the perk of local branches right in your community when you need some one-on-one time. Because we do banking better. Open your account online or in person at any of our convenient locations. Central Bank. Strong roots. Endless possibilities. Member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Bob Hamilton. Good news is we can still keep your house warm and comfortable this winter.
Better call Bob and get a $99 furnace safety inspection and cleaning. Time for a new furnace? Get a brand new one for just $68 a month.
That's Bob Hamilton, plumbing, heating, AC, rooter, and electrical. Better call Bob. Right, Bert?
Bob Hamilton Plumbing and Electrical. Heating and AC. Call 888-4BOB. Remember 913.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Get Upside Gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code RACE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code RACE for up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. That's code RACE.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Family Leisure's After Christmas clearance sale is here. Family Leisure has the best prices of the year on closeout, scratch and dent, and overstock products, and bonus deals for you if you mention 810. Pool tables, foosball, air hockey, bars and bar stools reduced by up to 70%. Hot tubs, tanning beds, and home theater seating at their best prices. Family Leisure has the best products, best selection, and best prices guaranteed. Take advantage of the special 810 deals while they last. Family Leisure, K10 and Ridgeview in Olathe.
Awesome.
Down 23, nothing. 4th and 1. Toss, Harris. Look at all the Chiefs waiting for him.
Look at all the Chiefs covered up that side of the field. And they take over on downs. Melvin Ingram was one of those in pursuit. Never a chance.
You'll hear a clip on this here in just a second because that play was a wild one. The Chiefs perfectly read it, and Melvin Ingram appeared to kind of be leading the charge. You have this first Najee Harris clip here, Beards. Rudy has told us that this clip is very much worth playing. You'll hear the question and the answer here to Najee Harris being asked about that 4th down pitch play.
Hey, Najee, can you take us through that 4th and 1 pitch play to you? It seemed like Melvin Ingram really anticipated that play. Is that a play that you guys ran a lot while, he was there?
I'm not answering that question. You can ask another question than that, please.
I'm good, thanks.
Whew. Najee Harris, by the way, I mean, this is a tough loss, and he's had a frustrating season because he's been largely excellent, but he's been in some brutal spots for a running back. But Najee Harris is not a guy who I've heard a lot of question rejecting, to the point that I don't think that's Najee Harris being a bleep. I think that might be Najee Harris saying, I'm not going to tell you that Melvin Ingram might have known what that play was because we have been running. Because, I mean, Ingram was there, but the whole defense, I tweeted right after that play of like, I'm not sure why they ran that play, but also because you don't want to go backwards on a 4th and 1, right? But also, it was like the Chiefs knew what was coming. I wouldn't have thought to ask Najee Harris if they did know what was coming, but it looked like it, and that would have been just another blip on the frustration radar there for Najee Harris and what's been a relatively long, relatively tumultuous rookie campaign for him. Where again, he's put up some great stats and some great highlights and done some great work, but that offensive line needs help. He needs some help. The quarterback needs help. It's a tough run there. Let's go ahead and hear now from Mike Tomlin, the Steelers head coach, in a game that, I mean, his team just got absolutely throttled, and I'm sure there's probably another question about Melvin Ingram in there. I look forward to hearing all of that. And as always, the opposing coach press conference is brought to you by Metcalf CarStar. If your vehicle gets sacked on the road, take it to Metcalf CarStar, the collision repair experts. They make it convenient and easy to get back on the road. Go to carstar.com and search Metcalf CarStar. CarStar, relax. They'll take it from here. Here's Mike Tomlin after falling to the Chiefs 36-10.
Disappointing game for us. We didn't do enough in any of the 3 phases to give ourselves a chance. On offense, we turned the ball over. We've had our struggles on offense, but when we take care of the ball, we give ourselves a chance. We didn't. I think we had 3 of those tonight. That was catastrophic. We didn't get necessary stops on defense when we got put on the short field, and largely we didn't win enough of the weighty downs, possession downs, red zone, etc. Not enough splashing teams. This is a collective. Players and coaches, man, we own this. Now we transition and we get singularly focused on our 2 division games. We can't cry over the spilt milk. It is what it is tonight. We understand that. We better center our focus and put together our best efforts in an effort to secure victory next Monday night. And so that's what we briefly talked about in the locker room. Had bumps and bruises associated with play. Trey Turner had a knee. Kay Green had a calf. And some other things not significant enough to speak of. I'll pause and open it up for questions.
Jerry Dulac.
Hey, Mike, how do you kind of stop what's been going on? It's been fairly lopsided, of course, on the road the last 4 games, and it's just you haven't had much of a chance almost from the get-go.
We hadn't done much on the road. I think you said it. We're taking too long to warm up to the environment. And so it's been an issue. Obviously, it's not going to be an issue coming up this week. We'll be at Heinz Field, but I acknowledge it's been an issue for us.
Joe Rudder.
Yeah, Mike, I mean, is there anything you can pinpoint it to, preparation, play calling, coaching, that you're getting in these big holes?
I'm sure it's all of the above. When it's as consistent as it's been, it's not one issue. It's multiple issues, and it's probably a bit of all the things that you suggested.
Brooke Pryor.
Yeah, Mike, Ben stayed in late in that loss to the Bengals in week 12. He said he came to you then and said he wants to stay in. How did you come to the decision to take him out late in this game?
We weren't going to let him finish on that turnover. We gave him another series. We went down and got something going, then we took him out.
Dale Wally.
Yeah, Mike, there was a report earlier today that TJ was dealing with fractured ribs. Is that the case?
He's dealing with a minor injury. It wasn't going to limit his play or prevent him from playing in any.
John.
Mike, Ray has gotten a lot of targets, had 8 more today. What's made him such a prominent part of this offense?
The attention that 18 and 11 gets.
Jerry Dulac.
Hey, Mike, when the offense, how you talk about just not starting fast in the first half, it's just been a recurring problem. I know you just can't predict, draw up something to get it going, but what can you do?
I'm sorry, Jerry, you were breaking up. I could not hear what you said.
Yeah, Mike, I'm not asking a question. Please put your iPad or computer on mute, please. Jerry, go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, I said you've struggled getting going in the first half, as you said earlier. And I know you want to start faster, but how do you just change what's been going on in the first half offensively?
like I said, it's a myriad of things, so it's going to require our attention, man. And obviously, by the next time we get in a road game environment, man, there better be some changes.
Brooke Pryor.
Yeah, Mike, you said before that there were stones to turn over after some other tough losses. Do you have any stones left to turn over to try to jumpstart something the last 2 games?
We'll spend the first couple of days of the week looking at those options, certainly.
Joe Rudder.
Like you were thrown into a situation with your punter, how do you think he responded, and what made you go with him over the other guy?
We had exposure to Corliss. He's been a part of our program. He's got a relationship with Boz, and so the holding component of it was a component of the decision making as well. I thought Corliss did a solid job for us. We're appreciative of his efforts.
Dale Lawley.
Yeah, Mike, the focus has been on your offense not producing in the first half. Does that also then play into what's happening with the defense? They're spending too much time on the field.
No, we're not going to seek comfort in that regard, man. We got to play better in all 3 phases.
If you're not asking a question, please mute. Dejan, go ahead.
Mike, did you have any concern about the taunting penalty? Was it different than the one that got Chase Claypool benched?
I categorically disagree with it. I thought that Ray was signaling first down, and he turned around to do so, and the guy just happened to be there. I think we got to exercise some common sense.
Mark Caboli.
Hey, Mike, you mentioned Kendrick Green with the calf. Was it strictly because of his calf, or was it some of his play today that made you to sit him down?
He had a calf injury.
There's Mike Tomlin.
Just call outside.
Beards, what I'm going to say here real quick is I'm going to say there's Mike Tomlin's press conference. Now, can you also say the phrase, can you actually let you take the lead there? Just go ahead and say, and there was Mike Tomlin's press conference here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Okay, that's your line. That's your line. Go ahead, ready, and action.
And there was
Mike Tomlin's press conference here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Yep.
Also, you want to turn the camera around on the video feed?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Just to your convenience.
Well, you know.
Hey, guys.
Hey,
we've been on Zoom for 2 effing years. You can do this.
Steelers lost on the field and in the media room.
Guys, just put in headphones. Just put in headphones. Come on. Can we get... And I don't know how much of that was the reporters, how much of that was on the Steelers side, how much of that was Arrowhead Wi-Fi, I don't know. But can we just get everybody some sponsored wireless headphones? Just that you gotta know, we have enough rules we have to follow for the NFL at this point anyway to tweet out a fart about an NFL team. Just add a rule that you gotta wear some wireless headphones to ask a Zoom conference, or just some headphones to ask a Zoom question. That'd be really helpful. Unbelievable. Just what a time. We will get to either Ben Roethlisberger or, in case you missed any of Clark Hunt, we joined in progress. Might have missed the first half of his first opening statement, but we'll stick with the Steelers side here. Let's go for Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger after the loss today.
Hey, Ben, it's kind of getting repetitive here to keep asking about the slow starts and being down in the big hole in the first half. Where are you with that? I mean, can you have 2 games left. Can you turn it around? Can you change some things? What's happening?
It's getting repetitive for us to try and answer it, trying to come up with an answer. I don't know. If I had an answer, I would have done everything we could to get it fixed. We got 2 games left, but none are more important than the next one. So we'll do everything we can to try and get it fixed.
Joe Rudder.
Yeah, Ben, the fact these things keep happening on the road, what's the frustration level like that? And why do you see this continually happening?
Well, Joe, like I just said, I don't have an answer for you, but it is frustrating. Obviously, we want to be able to go down the field and put points on the board. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I'm sorry.
Dale Lawley.
Yeah, Ben, on the interception, did the wind take that? Did it slip out of your hand? What were you trying to throw there?
Yeah, we had obviously a flea flicker called, stepped up quickly, and I saw Ray, and it sailed on me a little bit. I'm not going to blame anything but myself.
Brooke Pryor.
Yeah, Ben, after the Cincinnati game, you said that you stayed in late because you wanted to show, fight and resiliency and everything. How did you guys come to the determination for you to come out early the last 2-3 minutes and have Mason go in for that last drive?
That's coach's decision, his call. He asked me to, told me I was out in the series before, and I asked him, I said, I don't want to be done. I want to keep going. He said, okay. And then when we came off, he told me I was done, and there was nothing else I could say about it.
Dejan?
Ben, before he went out, Ray was your most targeted receiver. What's made him a prominent part of this offense, or is it more of the other guys being taken away?
A little bit of both. Ray is very shifty and quick. Finds ways to get open in man coverage. Really good like that. And they're doubling Tay and Chase a lot too.
Joe Rutter?
Sorry, I didn't have anything else.
Okay. Jerry Dulac.
Hey, Ben, where's the confidence level? I mean, you're not just losing some of these games on the road. They've been awfully lopsided. I mean, how much does that eat into, the guys and the way they feel about themselves and their ability to perform?
Yeah, it's frustrating. I think for myself, been doing this a long time. You'll have games like this. We've had more than we went through this year, but I think the other part of it is we also might be young enough that guys just don't, it doesn't sink in a good way, if that makes sense. I think sometimes, when seasons like this, games like this happen, sometimes lack of experience is better.
Anyone else? Mark Caboli.
Hey, Ben, there's still 2 games left, and you still can get in the playoffs. How do you relay that message to some of the younger guys that even though it looks bleak right now, there's still an opportunity?
Yeah, there is, but it doesn't happen if we don't get one. We got to get one win coming home. Big game Monday night, 2 divisional opponents. So let's focus on this one, and that's going to be my message. I'm sure Cam is saying the same thing. Is let's focus on one game, one opponent, trying to get one victory, and let's just see what happens after that.
There's Ben Roethlisberger, who is, he said he's kind of tired of answering the same sort of repetitive questions with the same kind of repetitive answers, but they're the same repetitive issues for this team. They've been off to a bunch of slow starts. They've had some games that it seems like they should have won and ultimately didn't. It's a bizarre football team, man. I don't know the last time I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers have been verifiably good. It's been a while. Even the best high watermarks of recent years have ultimately been followed by various forms of disappointments.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm okay with it.
Fair enough.
The last probably good Steelers team was the one that rolled into Kansas City on, I can't remember if it was like a Monday night or a Sunday night. It was one of the primetime games, and it was just the Hindenburg, where it was like 35-3 at halftime.
Yeah.
That was a bad night. That was probably the worst night I've ever had here in postgame.
Yeah.
This was cathartic.
Yeah, Beard, you enjoyed this tonight more than I think anybody else.
I don't like the Steelers.
I
don't like the Steelers.
You have a real feeling about the Steelers.
There was a kid that I went to elementary school with that was a Steelers fan, and I didn't like him. So that's also part of this, is the fact I have past dislike of the Steelers because of this kid.
I wish we had time to put you on a therapist couch for a second and just talk about little Jimmy or whatever. Do you want to drop his name? What was his first name, this kid?
No, I'm not going to do that.
His first name?
I'm not doing that.
Just his first name?
No, that's okay.
What's the first letter of his name?
J.
So is it Jimmy?
It's Josh.
Is it
it's
really?
You. It's
wow.
you. No, it's not
Josh. I don't like the Steelers. What was his name? Just his first name. I don't have to go first, last, and middle in his current home address. I got to put a name to him.
You get a J. That's all you get.
Jonathan. Johnny. Oh, it's Jason, isn't it? That's why you're so angry when you come to work every day for the Zone now. So you have to sit across. And it was Jason Anderson. He was held back several years. And he was, held back for about, how old is Jason? Early 60s? That's not fair. Sorry, Jason. Let's spin it back around to the Chiefs side here real quick. We joined in progress as Clark Hunt was making his now just annual thing he does every year, where he speaks to the media after the Chiefs win the AFC West. Here's the opening statement here from Clark Hunt, as he's now done 6 years in a row.
Okay, just start by congratulating the team and the coaching staff on a tremendous afternoon. Great performance all the way around by all three units. And, of course, clinching the division title, the sixth straight time that we've done so with Andy as our head coach. Just a tremendous job by him, his coaching staff, in what I know was a very challenging week from a coaching perspective.
There you go. And if you missed any of that or any of the press conferences today, you can go hear them all in full from the podcast page. You can get that at 810WHB.com or the 810 mobile app. All sorts of places you can get the post-game show if you missed anything. And, of course, we'll be here after every Chiefs post-game show for the rest of the season, as we have every week to this point. This is a little bit off the beaten path, but I wanted to mention it here today because last week I think Beards had asked, it'd been a while since we had heard from Tommy Moe, regular caller who was a regular on the program, regular calling into the post-game show. Found out this week that there is currently a GoFundMe with more information on all this, and also trying to support Tommy Moe a little bit as he's been dealing with some long-lasting complications from COVID-19 that he contracted over the summer. Again, all the details here I'll let you go check out if you'd like, and I'll tweet out the link as well on Twitter at JB Brisco. If you want to look it up, the title of the GoFundMe page is Help Tom Lester Win the Race Against COVID-19. Now, look, I don't love knowing Tommy Moe's real last name. That, for me, is a little bit uncomfortable. But it's always been a pleasure to talk to Tommy Moe. Met Tommy Moe in person once, and has always been a wonderful guy to see his name come up on the phones, and hopefully we get to hear from him again before too terribly long. But if you'd like to touch base and find out what's going on there or what you could do to help, you can look that up. And again, I'll tweet out the link if you'd like to go check it out. It's been a tough run for Tommy Moe, according to everything laid out here, and hope he's had a good holiday that maybe we can help make a little bit better. Shout out to Tommy Moe. Don't take too much longer to get better. We care about you and hope that turnaround is a quick one. Thanks for listening to the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. We'll talk to you again next week. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning on the Border Patrol. Until then, bye, Mom.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Byron Pringle with Victory Ford at the Legends in